Gingell, Hoffman,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Joliet,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Lubes,
Here.
Markham,
Here.
Miller, Nelson,
Here.
Powell,
Here.
Smiley,
Here.
Smith Charles, present, Spiz,
Here.
Taylor,
Here.
Whitebert,
Here.
Woodward,
Here.
Gershenson, did she come back in? No, okay, well, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And Commissioners Gingell and Miller excused with notice. And Commissioner Gershenson has entered the chamber. All right, the invocation this morning will be led by the Honorable Brendan Johnson. Commissioner Johnson, please. If everyone could please rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you very much. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in the giving that we receive, in the pardoning that we are pardoned, and in the dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. This will move to approval of the minutes from our June 11th, 2026 meeting. Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Joliet. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Let the record reflect approved unanimously. And next item is approval of today's agenda. Moved by Commissioner Powell.
I'd like to make an
Seconded
amendment. Okay.
Seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Commissioner Cavell.
Can we move items 11I, 13A, 14K, and 14P to regular agenda?
Motion by Commissioner Cavell.
11I, about the training center. 13A, about the VESIP equalization. 14K, about the helicopter. And 14P, about Mission Oakland. From consent to regular. And if the numbers change, that's why I said what their topic was.
There's a motion by Cavell. Supported by Commissioner Nelson. Any discussion? All in favor of moving those items to the regular agenda? Actually, why don't we just prompt the vote? If we, sorry, didn't mean to bring that on yet. Oh, actually, let's just do a roll call on it. Is that okay, Madam Clerk?
Sure. You want a roll call on it? Okay. Commissioners Cavell,
Yes.
Erickson Galt,
No.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Gingell, oh, sorry. Hoffman,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Joliet,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell,
No.
Smiley,
Yes.
Smith Charles,
No.
Spiz,
Yes.
Taylor,
No.
Whitebert, Woodward.
No.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 7 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the motion passes, and I'll ask staff to adjust the agenda, and we'll refresh in a few moments. All in favor of approving the agenda as amended, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect the agenda is approved. This will now move us to presentations. We've got a couple presentations this morning. We'll start off by a proclamation recognizing July as Parks and Recreation Month. Oh, actually, our three commissioners that are on the Parks Commission will be presenting this. So Commissioner Smith-Charles, Commissioner Long, Commissioner Erickson Galt.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. And we are before you because if you didn't know, now you know. July is Park and Recreation Month in Oakland County and abroad. So let's do a little shout out to them. We were with our parks people yesterday, so they're probably all wiped out. So Chris isn't here quite yet. So we're going to read this into the record and present to parks in their absence. Whereas it is important to recognize Oakland County's dedication to providing residents and visitors of all ages and abilities with recreational opportunities through its award-winning parks, network of multi-use trails, robust educational programming, and more during Park and Recreation Month. And whereas Park and Recreation Month, established by the National Recreation and Park Association and observed each July since 1985, highlights the importance of park and rec opportunities as essential to health outcomes, learning, climate resilience, and a strong community spirit. This year's theme, The Power of, celebrates connection, play, community, nature, belonging, and well-being. These elements fostered by the availability of well-supported and robust parks and rec create a restorative and inspirational sanctuary for the community. And
whereas for 60 years, the staff of Oakland County Parks and the leaders on the Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission have channeled their passion and dedication into enriching the quality of life in the county through access to spaces that promote a vibrant and healthy lifestyle and protect our abundant natural resources. And whereas Oakland County Parks is a leader in land conservation and stewardship, advocating for the land, water, trees, and wildlife that make up our green spaces, under its commission's guidance, Oakland County's 17 parks, with more soon to be added, house a wide variety of natural habitats and many of Michigan's unique flora and fauna.
And whereas amenities at Oakland County Parks include beaches, multi-use trail systems, nature centers, playgrounds, waterways, and more, making the park system a place where visitors can find activities, educational experiences, and natural wonder to captivate their hearts and imaginations. Oakland County Parks continues to expand its offerings, making significant contribution to the physical and economic health and resiliency of the region's communities and their residents. And then now therefore, and it's signed by Chairman Dave Woodward, and along with Commissioner Yolanda Smith-Charles, me, Christine Long, and Ann Erickson Galt, who serve on the Oakland County Parks Commission, and the entire Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim July as Parks and Recreation Month in Oakland County. And so that's good, yeah. So I do want to do just a shout out that just to remind everyone that hopefully the fog or smoke goes away and that we can go to the smog, or whatever it is. It's horrible. But the Oakland County Fair is going on at Springfield Oaks in Davisburg till Sunday at 8 p.m. So that is a good way to celebrate July Parks and Recreation Month. It's a great fair. So hopefully this clears out today and everyone can enjoy the fair. So thank you.
so the idea is we will make sure that Chris Ward and the team at Parks gets this, but if I could get the commissioners to come up for a group photo to commemorate this special occasion, that'd be great.
Yeah, I go sideways with the foot.
Come on, Karen, tall people in the back. It's because you're always tall.
See, this is we talk. We need to be told. Did she get it?
Wow, you're tall.
I know.
Great job, commissioners. Next up, we've got a proclamation honoring Oakland County America 250 celebration. As a nation, we celebrated 250 fabulous years, and Commissioners Markham and Smiley will lead us in this proclamation.
Properly attired. To the commissioners, you'll find flyers in your mailboxes about this event. America 250 in Oakland County is going to be celebrated this year at the Oakland History Center, which is over straight up Telegraph Road, turn right on Cesar Chavez, go past the Wisner Stadium, and there's a historical site there, and that's where we'll be celebrating America 250. I want to invite Connor Newton, who is the president of the Oakland History Center, and to join with us so we can present him with this proclamation. We're partnering with the Oakland History Center, the County Board of Commissioners, and Parks and Recreation, and we are going to have a really great event. So I'm going to let Rob start with the reading.
Happy to. Just a little bit, yeah, they've really set up a great event next week. I highly recommend that you check it out. You have 2 days to get, Saturday and Sunday, and they've really got a bunch of wonderful features. Anyway, whereas as we reach certain remarkable milestones, it is incumbent upon us to pause and reflect the creation of this great nation and the lasting impact of its founding documents. Whereas this marks the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, one of history's most influential documents. It established the moral, ethical, and political arguments against British colonial rule and for the American independence. Let me go about halfway?
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
One more paragraph. Whereas a committed steward of history with its own rich past, the Oakland County Historical Society, formerly known as the Pioneer Society of Oakland County, was founded in 1874. It operates as a member-based nonprofit organization with the mission to preserve and convey Oakland County's contributions to the evolution of American history. And they do a great job of it. With this spirit, the Society is embracing the nation's semi-quincentennial and hosting an inspirational celebration at its Oakland History Center in Pine Grove and Pontiac. And
whereas the two-day event on July 25th and 26th will encompass the 50-year tradition of the Historical Society's annual Summer Ice Cream Social, the celebration will also be enhanced with an exciting lineup of highlights, including hands-on activities such as butter making, children's games, and a bounce house, bookend commemorative giveaways, campus tours, storytelling and living history performers, and I'm just going to insert here, you got to come to hear Judge Warren, live musical and theatrical entertainment, and dozens of vendors. Plus, several professional appraisers will be on site to provide free valuations for celebration attendees, cherished family heirlooms, and garage sale finds, just like our own Antiques Roadshow.
Yep.
Whereas on the special occasion of the nation's anniversary, we join with Oakland County Historical Society's volunteer board of directors and its staff to applaud the Society's leadership, dedication, and commitment to ensuring that the America 250 celebration is meaningful, accessible, and reflective of the diverse experiences that shape our community. Now, therefore, David T. Woodward, Chair of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, myself and Robert Smiley, and the entire Oakland County Board of Commissioners do hereby recognize the Oakland County Historical Society's tireless dedication to preserving and sharing and celebrating history and its leadership in commemorating America 250 right here in Oakland County. Connor, I'm happy to present you with this, and I'd like to invite all the elected officials that are here to come join us for a photo.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Connor. Stay right here. We're going to put you right in the middle in the front.
Okay, right at the podium.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
I love dressing for a theme. I have blue and red. I love dressing for a theme.
Up front, and all play.
Get up here.
People that are patriotic.
Okay. Do you want us here or?
Wherever you want to be.
Thank you.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, patriotic. Actually, Lisa,
That was it.
I like that.
We did it.
I didn't notice. I didn't check. I didn't see the pants.
And blue.
Sure. Just like making sure it's on the radar still.
And thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Markham and Smiley. Absolutely. July 25th, 26th is going to be an astounding event. Oakland County doing our part to celebrate America's 250 years. This will now move us to a budget presentation. And before I invite our next speaker, just for those who are joining us and watching online, this is the kickoff of the most important responsibility of this body, and that is the deliberation of a budget. The county executive presented a recommended budget July 1, and this is the first opportunity to present an overview to the entire board, where we will spend the next many months working on it to get a balanced budget adopted and approved before the start of our next fiscal year, which is October 1. So without any further ado, our County Executive, Dave Coulter, to lead us through an overview of the recommended budget presented.
All right.
Thank you, Executive.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm glad you made it through the fog. I should start by saying that we're very aware of the danger of the smoke situation that we're at. We have actually notified our supervisors that if you have indoor employees, just know that we're doing everything we can to minimize any inconvenience indoors, although we think in air-conditioned buildings like this, we should be okay. But also, especially where we have outdoor employees, we're asking supervisors to use extreme caution in making sure they are flexible with our employees, and especially those indoor or outdoor that have respiratory issues. So know that we are very aware of this. There aren't specific MIOSHA regulations around smoke, maybe because it doesn't happen that often, but it's happening more and more, and we're being as proactive as we can. So yes, today I'm here to introduce to you our recommended budget, which our budget and finance team, but also all the elected officials, all the employees, and all of you have had input on. We work on this all year long. And as the chairman said, and I think all of you recognize, this is probably the most important thing that we do as elected officials in Oakland County. We want to establish a budget that guides our county government and the services that we provide over the next 3 years, because as you know, this is a 3-year balanced budget, and we invite you to look at all 3 years to see not only where we're at financially, but where we're headed. I've always appreciated, since my days on the commission, Commissioner Weipert, you're sitting in the seat I used to sit in. I've always appreciated the collaborative nature for decades in Oakland County. I said it in my State of the County, but even in these more polarized political times, I think one of the best things we can do is lead by example, and that is to show our residents that on these important things that we can come together and have honest debate and discussion and then present a budget that works for our counties. So I've always appreciated that, and that's why I come here every year, to give you an overview of it, and then we'll get into some more, our CFO will get into some more details later. They entrust us to pass a budget that is responsible and transparent while providing the services that are most important to them. And I think working together, we've built a strong foundation over the years, and I think this budget continues that. This is fiscal year 2027 through 29, and this budget builds on that commitment and history that we share. It's structurally balanced, and I know we say that, but for those of you who don't understand, that means simply no planned use of fund balance for ongoing operations. It is now our new foundation that we will do not just balanced budgets, but structurally balanced, and it's sustainable. This budget, as you would hope to expect, it has healthy reserves to allow us to weather any financial storms that may be coming our way, and while still allowing us to deliver the services that our residents come to expect and that I know all of you commissioners are eager to deliver. You know, like counties and communities throughout the country, there is financial uncertainty, and that's why those healthy reserves are so important. There's been shifting federal policies and changing economic conditions and most important, increased costs for all of us, our families, our communities, and county government and the residents we serve. But those uncertainties don't change our responsibility. It does require us to be disciplined with our taxpayer dollars and thoughtful about the decisions that we make, and that's why you will, are we okay, Bill?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, we have pretty slides. And that's why we'll be thoughtful about the decisions that we make. But because we've planned responsibly over many years, we do still remain in a very strong financial position. This budget allows us, I believe, to maintain our AAA bond rating, and that, of course, reflects the county's sound financial management and continues to save our taxpayers' dollars on our long-term projects. It's also the foundation that allows us to carry out our strategic plan while remaining prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. It also makes the investments in this budget possible, because we're not here just to save money, but to invest in the important critical services that our residents deserve. And we're continuing in this budget to invest in programs that I believe are important for Oakland County's future. One example, you've heard me talk about this before, so it won't come as a surprise to you, but I continue to be committed to our Oakland 80 goal. In just 3 years, more than 42,000 residents from all across Oakland County have completed applications to go to colleges or universities, apprenticeships, or certified training programs through this initiative. Among those, I just want to give you a couple of stories, and I know this isn't the state of the county, but I think it's important to see the faces of those people who are affected. One of them, April Dickerson, who worked with our Oakland 80 navigators to leverage her past work experience and her college credits to kickstart her plans to get a degree in communications from Rochester Christian University. Or Dante Jacob, who used the program to cover equipment and book costs for firefighting training through Oakland Community College. He's among one of 1,300 Oakland County adults that took advantage of this program just last year to overcome the obstacles that they had to finally getting that degree or certification. And so I think it's stories like this that remind us that these investments matter. They make a real difference in Oakland County residents' lives. And we're making significant progress towards our goal by the end of this decade of having 80% of our adult residents with some sort of degree or certification. This means, of course, more opportunities for our residents and a stronger workforce for our employers who choose to make Oakland County home. But this budget also reflects our commitment to other things like public safety and fairness in the criminal justice system. So I want to give you a couple of examples of things you can expect to see. It includes funding for a pilot program that increases the support for defense attorneys representing indigent defendants in circuit court, ensuring that they have access to quality legal representation. It adds a sheriff's deputy position dedicated to supporting the Human Trafficking Prevention Task Force, helping to protect those vulnerable individuals and, importantly, holding the offenders accountable. It invests in updated equipment for the Sheriff's Crime Lab, which we've talked about for many years, was long overdue, providing those investigators with newer tools to serve our communities. Just as importantly, and certainly on a day like this you can understand, we're investing in the health of our residents. This budget includes 2 community health workers to expand Oakland Connects, which allows more residents to receive support, connecting them with health care, housing, food assistance, and other essential services. It also provides 2 new health division positions dedicated to lead testing and abatement, helping to protect the children and families across Oakland County. Of course, we continue to support programs that improve the everyday life of our residents, and I'll just highlight one of them that I'm particularly proud of, and that's the program that you all approved called This Rides on Us. That's the program that provides free public transportation for our veterans and their caregivers, making it easier for them to get to medical appointments or to shopping or other important destinations in their lives. These are services that they have earned through their sacrifice to our country, and I'm committed to continuing that program. But none of these programs happen without the talented employees that serve Oakland County every single day. If you're an employee of Oakland County, raise your hand if you don't mind. Just, yes. Thank you. Yes, you are, Bob. Yes, you are. I want to thank you for your service every day, because we can make the policies and pass the budgets, but they come to work every day dedicated to improving the lives of people in this county. So this budget continues to invest in our workforce with a 3% pay increase for non-represented employees, a 3.75% increase for our union employees. And it offers resources for professional development and ongoing training opportunities so that they have the tools and the skills that they need to do their jobs. It also, of course, provides a comprehensive benefit package that I believe continues to be among the best in government, helping to make us an employer of choice for the best talent out there. So we also continue to work in collaboration and partnership, you hear those words a lot, with the state of Michigan, the federal government, our local communities, and nonprofit organizations to come together to provide services to our residents. We know we don't have the funds to do it all ourselves, but these partnerships are critical. Our Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives Office, that, by the way, we created in partnership with this board just a few years ago, is actively identifying grants and collaborative opportunities that allow us to leverage our resources and expand the services that we could provide. And I'm happy to tell you that so far, since we together created that position, they've led to more than $10 million in new grants coming into Oakland County, something that we had never done before we created that position. And these partnerships, they're making a big difference. They've allowed us, for instance, to provide support to mothers and children through the RX Kids program, and to expand access to mental health services for residents throughout the county. You know, we dived deep into that problem when we had COVID dollars. We don't have those anymore, so now through these collaborations, we can continue our commitment to that important work. And through these programs, we're making measurable differences. So, over the coming weeks, you're going to hear from our departments as they present their budgets and discuss the work they do every day on behalf of our employees. I really sincerely appreciate the collaboration that we do in this. I welcome your comments and your feedback. I appreciate the countywide officials and every director who has had input to develop this budget. And I look forward to your ideas and your input. And I truly am confident, and I say this because for 25 years that I've been around, we've worked together and adopted budgets that allow Oakland County to keep delivering important services to our residents in a budget that we can afford. So with that, I want to turn it over for the details and the weeds, if you want to call them, to our CFO. And I believe that if I've done anything well in this job, it's that I tend to hire well, I'm just going to say. And I believe that our CFO is the best financial advisor in the state, in government, in the state. And so I'm happy to introduce and turn over for more details our great CFO, Brian Loeffler.
Thank you, Executive Coulter. Appreciate those very kind words. Good morning, Chair Woodward, Vice Chair Gertzenson, and Commissioners. This is the third time I've been up here doing the executive budget's recommendation. And as the county executive described, this budget process is a team effort. It's a team effort inside the county with fiscal services. We also have procurement. We brought them to the table, and then also human resources. We began this process 1 month earlier in the month of March this year. Again, as we said, we worked with the departments, the courts, other elected officials to review their requests to develop this year's triennial budget. This is always a holistic approach, trying to make sure that we break down silos and that we have an efficient use of taxpayers' dollars. But as you know, other influences will affect this budgeting process, which are not in the county's control, which include but are not limited to national or state fiscal and monetary policies. We've been dealing with a lot of challenges. Economic indicators such as inflation, consumer spending, and the business investment also impacts what happens in our county budget. Using these inputs, the recommended budget for FY 2027 through 2029 is again structurally balanced, meaning expenditures are less than or equal to the revenue for each fiscal year. As I mentioned, inflation, I think it's on the top of every taxpayer or resident today. And one of the things that we look at, and I think for those who do participate, is Oakland County has the economic outlook, usually in the month of April or May. And this is a document that's available on ED's Economic Development website, but it helps us as a guide for statewide economic policies. So with this graph, what we're looking at here is we're trying to compare what's happening in our region, which is the Detroit area versus the USA Consumer Price Index. And you can see here is that there's a little bit diversion between the two, but we are trying to stay within that spending pattern associated with the inflation rate. But it does impact our county's revenue, as we know, but it also impacts our county's expenditures. As County Executive Coulter, we use the inflation rate for our property tax increases, but also it talks about alignment of our wage increases for our employees. So with that, our tax base grew about 4.9% in 2026. One component of it is the inflationary cap under Proposal A, which means is that 2.7% of it was from property not changing hands. But then there was also properties that did come uncapped or new construction, so that's an additional 2.4 that essentially blends into that 4.9% increase of revenue. This revenue is approximately 54% of our overall for the general fund. But however, we want to use cautious assumptions going forward. And so with that, we tend to be lower than the 4.9% in the out years of 2028 and also in 2029. And also, as you know, the county's tax rate is below 4.0 mils or 3.8994. What has happened is that there has been a rollback under the Headley Amendment. And as it's shown on this next graph, we expect that to continue in the subsequent budgets. So for example, last year in 2025, we had 3.9301. This year is 3.8994, and we're expecting 3.8701. These are the projections that we use for this structurally balanced budget. But as you know, that's a function of what happens on the county property value changes. And this is where there's the taxable value changes, which is primarily where we get our revenue from. The SEV is really based on market value. So as you can see, is that our taxable value growth always lags behind the growth each year. For those who have been following county government since Proposal A, property tax revenue, there's two lines here. The upper one is the nominal revenue that has been coming. And you can see that we probably caught up from the recession almost 10 years after the recession had occurred in around 2018, 2029. So you can see the arrows. And then we have the nominal dollars have continued to increase, and that's what's projected. But when we use that for inflation-adjusted revenue, it's flat. So in other words, our purchasing power is flat. One of the things that the county should be very proud of is our general fund balance history. And you can see on this graph how it's been in an area of over 36% it's over 45% of the FY25 going forward. Well, keep in mind, there is a fund balance policy that we have to maintain, which is 30% of expenditures has to be in reserves. And that reserve is 25 for economic and 5% for non-economic. But this is one of the criteria that the rating agencies uses to give us our AAA. So in the audit for FY 2025, this is our beginning balance that we had for 2025 for the balance of for the 2026 budget that budget that we're in right now. But this is how the county ended up. We ended up with a total general fund balance of about $274 million, but then we had planned use, 0, carry forwards, 39. What carry forwards means projects that were already started. So what we have available fund balance is about $235 million. And then we start breaking it down into these budget stabilization, non-economic risks, and other assignments. And then so the balance is available for strategic investments, which is essentially the one time with long-term ROI. For the budgets that's in front of you today, the 2027 general fund revenue is about $633 million. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest component is our property tax revenue, which is about 55%. The next one is essentially state and federal dollars that are coming in, which is just under 15%. And then also the difference of charges for services and other miscellaneous carried forward items. Please note, you can see on the right-hand side that for our general fund revenue is projected to grow 1.8% in 2028 and 2029. Again, fiscally conservative. Matching the revenue side, this is how the expenditures total up to the $633 million. Personnel is approximately 68%. And if you were to look back at the prior chart, the top two line items, which is really local and federal state revenue, is about 68%. So you're almost seeing how that revenue is paying for the personnel costs inside the county. Operating expenses are about $85 million or 13%. But more importantly, we're doing the same thing of essentially trying to keep the expenditures in line with the revenue that was shown on the prior slide. As the county executive said, is that we are using, again, employee compensation, 3% for non-represented employees for the next 3 fiscal years, and then we have negotiated rates in our contracts, and those have all been incorporated into the budget that is being presented today. For those, the capital improvement program, there's 2 components here, actually 3. One is the budget still contains approximately $6 million to do ongoing funding that is needed to address routine capital maintenance and renovation expenses. These are expenses that you really can't bond for. You have to pay them out of operating dollars. So we have done that from 6%. So the first year I started, it was I was at $6 million, but prior to that, it was only $4 million, and the year before that was $2 million. So you've seen that we've had to work on the county's facilities. The second item is that you probably saw earlier this year, there was 2 projects that are authorized for bonding. One is the county improvement projects, and that financing has started, and you're going to probably start seeing some improvements, but a lot of these improvements are the things you really don't see. You'll see work, like steam tunnels. Nobody sees what's going on down there. Roof replacements, you can start seeing that. EV upgrades. And then also for the Pontiac redevelopment projects, all these financings have started. But more importantly is that the debt service for these bond issues are going to dovetail into the county's budget after the repayment of the last 2013 retiree healthcare bonds in 2027. So with that, as a summary, here are revenues, 633, growing up to $655 million in the next 3 years. And then, but if we were also to include all the other funds except for internal service funds, the total budget that is being presented is over about $1.3 billion. Okay. So again, the county executive recommended budget is also available on our website. So please be happy to check on that. And then also, budget hearings are going to begin through the Finance Committee in early August. But the team of fiscal, HR, procurement is really ready to serve you and your process and be ready to have, again, adopt a structurally balanced budget. So I just want to say thank you, and I look forward to working with all of you. And please, if there's any questions as you review the budget, please don't hesitate to ask. But again, it's a collaborative process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leffler. And I believe that concludes the presentation of the recommended budget. And as Mr. Leffler just mentioned, the Chair of Finance, our Commissioner Gwen Markham, will begin the budget hearings. That's in addition to the regular Finance Committee meetings, which will go department by department, line item by line item, looking through and making certain that we address not only the considerations and concerns of the board, but to continue to have the conversations around ensuring a structural, sound, balanced budget that continues to lean into Oakland County's ability to deliver the services that we see in Oakland County. So, Finance Committee members, good luck. Okay, that'll move us to communications. Madam Clerk, can you read the communications for today's meeting?
We have two this morning. The first is dated July 16th to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Please accept this letter as notification that I have exercised the authority granted to the chair of the board to approve grant applications in excess of $50,000 for the purposes of meeting a submission deadline. Due to the grantor deadlines and the board's grant submission process and calendar, it is not possible to submit the application for full board consideration in accordance with our normal procedures. I have authorized the submission of the following grant applications. The first is grant 2026-2027 Child Nutrition Coordinated Program for Children's Village in the amount of $265,000. The grant application deadline was June 30th, 2026. Next is it says Brine, but I think it's Byrne, Adult Treatment Court Program. I think that's a typo. For Circuit Court for $304,794. The grant application deadline was July 3rd, 2026. Next is the State Court Administrative Office Hybrid DWI Drug Court Program for the 52 First District Court in the amount of $177,380. That deadline was July 3rd, 2026. State Court Administrative Office Veterans Treatment Court Program for the 52-2 District Court. That was for $65,138. Again, that deadline was July 3rd. State Court Administrative Office Mental Health Court Program for the 52-1 District Court in the amount of $119,392. That also was due July 3rd, 2026. State Court Administrative Office Drug Court Program for 52-4 District Court in the amount of $143,619. That grant application deadline was July 3rd, 2026. Next is the Anti-Terrorism Emergency Assistance Program for the Sheriff's Office. That was for $364,408. The grant application deadline for that was July 8th, 2026. That application was considered with an affirmative vote by the Public Health and Safety Committee on July 7th, 2026. And also a grant, the Collaborative Capacity Building for Health and Human Services in the amount of $300,000. Grant application deadline for that, July 15th, 2026. This application was considered with an affirmative vote by the Public Health and Safety Committee on July 7th, 2026. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chair, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. And we also have a communication dated July 15th, 2026. Dear Chair Woodward, pursuant to MCL 791.407 sub 2, the Board of Commissioners appoints members of the County Community Corrections Advisory Board. For the Circuit Court member of the board, this is done on the recommendation of the circuit judges. The Circuit Court bench recommends the reappointment of Judge Mary Ellen Brennan to the Community Corrections Advisory Board for a new 4-year term. It is my understanding that Judge Brennan's current term expired on February 28th, 2026. If confirmed, I ask that the board confirm the term effective March 1st, 2026. It will expire on February 28th, 2030. Thank you for your consideration of this recommendation, and do not hesitate to contact me with any questions regarding this matter. I remain sincerely, Jeffrey S. Mattis, Chief Circuit Judge.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I get a motion to receive and confirm the appointment of Judge Mary Ellen Brennan, moved by Commissioner Powell, seconded by Commissioner Weipert. Any discussion on the communications? Commissioner Cavell.
I just want to lift up that at the last meeting, we had in communications an auto theft prevention grant that had in it $55,000 for Flock, and that was a way to go around the process. And now we're having 8 applications that total almost $2 million. So I just want to be cognizant of us not letting democracy go for expediency, because I see us using the communications to let you sign grant applications, Chair. I just want to flag that.
I just want to, let me correct the record. These are applications that often notice of funding opportunities present themselves in a time that cannot formally go through the entire process or don't have time, and so we encourage departments to seek funding to support operations. We're looking at a $1.3 billion budget, and in order to accept any grants, those applications, if awarded, have to come through the entire board process. And every grant application that is awarded, usually federal or state funding, comes before this board, and in order to be accepted, the board has to approve it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of receiving the communication say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that the communications are received. This will move us to our first public comment of today's meeting. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address items that are on the agenda, the consent agenda and the regular agenda. We have a second public comment at the end of the meeting to speak on any other topic. So there are a few people who signed up, so we'll start with those, but if there's anybody else that wants to speak on items on the agenda, just raise your hand when I call at that time. For those who haven't been here before, we ask that you come to the microphone like in the middle of the auditorium here. State your name, community of residence. Keep your comments to 3 minutes so that we can afford an opportunity for everyone to be heard. Direct your comments to me, the chair, and not to individual commissioners. And I will start with Maria, I believe it's Wollison.
Yeah.
Hi,
Good morning. I'm Maria Wollison. I've been a resident of the state of Michigan all of my life, and I've been an Oakland County resident for the past 37 years.
Welcome.
I'm also a member of the League of Women Voters, and I'm here this morning to basically ask that you protect Michigan voters and our hardworking municipal and county clerks by passing a resolution opposing unnecessary red tape and supporting Michigan's laws that have made our state a leader in free and fair elections. A brief explanation. Michigan has a strong history of protecting the right to vote and ensuring that voting is safe and accessible for the over 7 million active registered voters in our state, including the passage of pro-voter ballot initiatives by Michigan voters in 2018 and 2022. Since then, voters across the state have enjoyed access to same-day registration, no-excuse absentee voting, and in-person early voting. Michigan's investment in pro-voter policies and our election officials' commitments to implement these changes have made our elections a point of national recognition and statewide pride. In 2023 and 2024, Michigan received an A+ grade from the Institute for Responsive Government's Election Program report. However, a proposed ballot initiative to impose documentary proof of citizenship requirements for Michigan voters would create red tape and inject confusion into the voter registration process, walking back the incredible strides our state has made in making elections accessible. This proposal would require voters to show a birth certificate or passport when registering to vote, and then additional documentation when casting a vote. A recent report from Demos suggests that nearly 700,000 Michiganders do not possess or do not have easy access to these documents. The proposals would make it more difficult for married women, rural voters, and low-income voters to participate in our elections, potentially kicking thousands of eligible voters off the rolls. Michigan voters deserve to know the truth. State and federal law already prohibit non-citizens from voting. Now is the time to build on our collective progress, engage communities, and ensure every eligible voter can participate in our elections through their preferred voting methods. In addition to the threat posed by the ballot proposal, we continue to see efforts to cut our state and federal funding for election administration. Our election officials continually note that they need more funding so that they continue to prepare for and administer free and fair elections. As a coalition, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Scott Riley, followed by Debbie Rosen. Scott?
Move this up. I'm Scott Riley. I'm a Southfield resident. And I'm also opposing that referendum that's going to be on the ballot this fall. I call it the Keep Non-Privileged People from Voting initiative. You already heard how it's basically a trap. It's trying to say that, oh, we only want citizens to vote. Citizens are the ones that can only vote now. It's the law. If they break that law, it's a felony up to 9 years in prison. So the trap part is the things that Maria was just mentioning about birth certificates and passports not being available to most of our financially disadvantaged residents. In Southfield, there's the per capita income is $41,000. The U-Government poll shows that 20% of Americans earning under $50,000 don't have a passport. 12% of the people in Southfield's economic strata don't have birth certificates, according to the Bipartisan Policy Center. So that kind of shows that point. I got to wondering who is financing this, organizationally or person. And so I tried to follow the money. And I found out that, according to Ballotpedia, the signature collection effort was coordinated through Americans of Citizens Voting. Bridge News reports that Americans for Citizens Voting is primarily financed by an organization called Restoration of America. The FCC reports shows that the Restoration of America is primarily financed by one man, 94% of their multi-million-dollar budget. The one man is the CEO of Uline Packaging that some of you might be familiar with. That one man from Illinois is the primary force who is trying to change our Constitution in Michigan to make it harder in a swing state for Southfield to vote. So I'm just, as a Southfield resident, I request that the council stand with other cities to take the position to publicly oppose this anti-voting ballot initiative financed by one billionaire.
Thank you very much. Debbie Rosenman, followed by Ann Lehman. Debbie? Debbie, are you here? Oh, there you are. I didn't see you behind the chair there. Hi, Debbie.
I'm short. My name is Debbie Rosenman, and I live in Bloomfield Township, Michigan. Please take a stand and pass the resolution opposing the Michigan version of the SAVE Act, the ballot initiative which would impose unfair barriers for voters and block eligible voters from voting. This proposal is disguised as a citizen initiative, but is actually a power grab by politicians and wealthy elites, as Scott pointed out, designed to make it harder for eligible Michigan voters to register and vote. Did you know that 18% of Michigan voters, nearly 1.1 million people, have been registered to vote through methods that now could be disrupted by these policies? We need to make it possible for more citizens to register to vote, not prevent them from making their voices heard. Those moving this ballot initiative forward are trying to rewrite parts of our state constitution that Michigan voters already overwhelmingly approved in 2018 and 2022. I know about those winning ballot initiatives because I myself collected thousands of petition signatures to make them a reality. They are creating problems where problems do not exist. Disenfranchising women who change their names after getting married, which a lot of us do, people of color, low-income voters, rural voters, and more. Ignoring these barriers is very wrong. Join the growing list of local governments who are weighing in and passing resolutions opposing this red tape ballot proposal. Please do the right thing.
Thank you very much. Up next is Ann Lehman, followed by Emily Duther. Ann?
Hi, Ann Lehman from Davisburg. Let me move this here. As a member of CAFE, Community Aid for Empowerment, I can attest to the fact that my colleagues and I work tirelessly every day to document the horrific human impact of immigration enforcement. We can no longer pretend the aggressive tactics used by ICE aren't happening in our communities, and we cannot responsibly deny their consequences. Across this country, we've seen enforcement operations that resulted in deaths and irreversible trauma from Minnesota to Texas to Maine to Florida. These are not isolated families or headlines. They are human lives lost and shattered by the dehumanizing and brutalizing systems of ICE. The real question is, when will Michigan be next? CAFE does the work to directly help families impacted by ICE's coercive and intimidating tactics. We track those in detention and support the many families traumatized by the loss of loved ones who have experienced extreme economic hardship and pushed into crisis overnight. These families are too fearful just to go to the grocery store, let alone go to their next ICE appointment. Their lives have become a catch-22 nightmare. They're damned if they follow proper procedures and go to their appointments, and damned if they don't. Either way, ICE is waiting to detain them, whether they're here legally or not. Our data verifies what national statistics show, that 80% of people detained or deported were living here with legal status. 80% with legal status. They have their visas, they have their green cards, and they have no criminal background whatsoever. The fear, disruption, and loss of trust that follow these militarized raids rip through families, schools, workplaces, and the social fabric of our country and, of course, of our county. Oakland County is a diverse, thriving community, but our success depends on trust between residents and law enforcement, between public officials and the people you serve. When enforcement becomes a show of bullying rather than a careful application of law, that trust is gone. People stop reporting crimes, they stop cooperating with investigations, and withdraw from institutions that keep our community safe and healthy. Let's not forget, too, Pontiac alone has 41% of the population is Hispanic. How will Pontiac schools and the economic development you're toting here be impacted by the removal of almost 40% of its population?
Thank you very much, Ann. I'd like to remind individuals that this is the opportunity for public comment on the agenda. If there are, and I was looking. On what? Okay. So, Emily Duthan, if you can speak to items on the agenda. If it's not, we'll put you at the top of the second public comment.
My comments are about the budget. My name is Emily Duthan. I'm with CAFE. CAFE has verified that ICE is extremely active in Oakland County, and this has a significant impact on the county budget. ICE has abducted about 500 Oakland County residents from Pontiac and other townships, and I'm distributing a map here of abductions in the county so you can see where they are and how many people have been abducted from your jurisdictions. Over 425 residents of Pontiac, 29 residents of Madison Heights, 15 Southfield residents. The actual numbers are probably higher because these are not third-hand rumors from Facebook. These are abductions that trained CAFE volunteers have personally verified from direct observations and from conversations with wives and bystanders left behind. If you keep saying, I don't see ICE here in Oakland County, you are either willfully ignorant or ignoring the facts. ICE is taking Oakland County residents who are here legally. We see their work permits, their social security cards, their driver's licenses, paperwork proving that they are here legally. Don't take my word for it. According to ICE's own data, only 5% of the people they are imprisoning have felony convictions. ICE reports that 87% of the detainees at Michigan's North Lake internment camp have no criminal convictions. Since when does America imprison residents with no convictions without due process? I am haunted by the words of one detainee who was recently released after suffering severe medical neglect and being allowed to post thousands of dollars of bond ransom. He said, "Please tell them that we are not criminals." I hear the commissioners saying, we're helpless to fix a federal issue. The administration might take revenge on us if we protest. Are you really that powerless and fearful? Doing nothing has consequences. Many residents of Oakland County are now afraid to seek out essential government services to protect public health and safety. We are afraid to visit Oakland County health clinics to get vaccinated, increasing public health risks to us all. We are afraid to call the police when we should. Are the masked men with bulletproof vests saying police who are violently abducting our neighbors really police? ICE? Are they ICE? Are they kidnappers? I can't tell them apart. Your inaction has real consequences. Schools have lost so many students that they are cutting classrooms. Apartment complexes are half empty as residents leave. Local businesses are losing workers and customers, harming our economy. Are you really afraid that the administration will take revenge on Oakland County if you allocate additional funds for food insecurity and legal assistance, appoint community members to an ad hoc committee, require ICE to use judicial warrants or address information sharing with the sheriff? Your job is to protect public health and safety. It's been 4 months. Do your job.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. Okay. So, all right, so I just want to be very clear. The county budget's not on the agenda. This is the public comment opportunity to talk about items on the consent agenda and the regular agenda. And if you want to talk about other things, we will definitely make time for you to be able to speak in the second public comment. If people continue to not talk to items on those agenda, we'll close this first public comment and move on to the next. So I just ask, please, so that we can get through everything and get to the business of today's board meeting, that we can proceed. I've got Tracy Peace. You'll get the second one? Okay, I'll put you at the top of the first there. Lori Boyce. Welcome, Lori.
Hi, Lori Boyce, Farmington Hills, Michigan. Thank you for letting me be here. Michigan has historically been a pro-voter state with constitutional amendments, making it easier to vote, early voting, no reason, absentee, etc. It is already illegal for a non-citizen to vote, rarely occurs, and is prosecuted where warranted. I don't disagree that only citizens should vote, but the documentary proof of citizenship proposal is not the way to do it. It is a very costly voter suppression bill, just like Trump is pushing the Federal SAVE Act so that Democrats cannot win a federal election again, his words. The circulators trying to get signatures for this ballot proposal got people to sign it by saying it just requires an ID. Most people agree that a picture ID should be provided to vote in person, and that's already required. But what the circulars didn't say is that your driver's license or your real ID doesn't count, only an enhanced ID where you have a flag on it. This proposal would make elections much more expensive for both the state and voters and would disenfranchise hundreds of thousands of Michiganders that are in fact citizens. This impacts poor, disabled, elderly, those who change their name, those who work during Secretary of State or clerk's hours, overseas military, college students, and more. For example, this would require Michiganders to go to the Secretary of State or clerk's office in order to show their documentation. Not everyone can do this. Further, they may have to do this more than once, and certainly every time they move, even if only to another apartment in the same building. A troubling provision is for people whose name has changed since birth. The language in the amendment indicates that the Secretary may accept marriage certificates, divorce decrees, etc., to show a name change, but does not require them to accept such documents. Rogue election officials could deny a person's right to vote by not accepting these documents. Further, due to potential criminal penalties on election officials are less inclined to accept such documentation when not totally clear. The cost to the state will be in millions of dollars. They're programming separate ballots for federal and state elections, training of Secretary of State workers, clerks, and election workers, education of residents, and extra people needed at the election offices in order to process all of these in-person visits will be extremely expensive. The rare potential of a non-citizen voting does not justify the cost, both money and disenfranchisement, of this ballot proposal. That also means less money for the state to provide funds for other programs and for the allocation to counties and communities such as ours. Michigan is already in one of the top 5 election security states in the country. This would only decrease voter rolls. It wouldn't increase security. So I sincerely ask you to support this proposal or resolution in order to vote no with respect to documentary proof of citizenship ballot proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, Taya Lyons, followed by Brett Reynolds.
Hi, I'm going to speak on a few different things on the agenda, starting with 14P, which is to accept a donation from Mission Oakland, which is for a Honda Pioneer to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. Problem is, the director of Mission Oakland is Jen Mills. Jen Mills, who has also worked for the Oakland County Sheriff's Office for almost 27 years. That is to say that Oakland County Sheriff's Office is essentially laundering donations. Mission Oakland is essentially acting as a shell organization so the sheriff's political friends can donate to his office. Okay. I also want to talk about the budget, because we have a lot of budget things going on, but no one's mentioning the fact that Dave Woodward is charging $42,000 for out-of-state trips and charging for lifts to and from the bar. So I feel like that really emphasizes the need for the recall. Signatures gathering starting on Saturday next week. But as a reminder, Dave alone is not the problem, because while he may be chair, the other commissioners here are not powerless. So why, when we have such a high budget, is there no ICE out demands met? Again, $42,000 for his travel, but not $100,000 for ICE? I don't understand. Additionally, why haven't you taken any action to remove flock surveillance technology from our community? It's not that hard. We've asked a lot. I did notice that you took the drone policy off the consent agenda, which I do think was the right move, because directing other departments to write a policy is not legislation. As a reminder, there's also no policy that can protect us from flock technology because there is no oversight into their operations, and they have been known to violate both policies and contracts. So the only way to protect us from this technology is to remove it. All that said, the air is toxic, so I'm taking my child home. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Brett Reynolds, followed by Dallas Oliver.
I'm not sorry I had one. Hi, thank you so much. My name is Brett Reynolds. Some people know me on Facebook. I am Brett Barker. I don't believe anybody should have their real name on Facebook. We say flock together. That's all about technology. That's all about our data. That is all about the misuse of the currency of the new round, data. I want to talk about at these meetings, I'd like to just say something about the agenda itself. These paper platitudes that are handed out, park, recreation, and all that, in other communities, they actually do the photo ops before the meeting. They actually take a moment and they pose every picture, one after the other. They don't do this congregate, let's all come down. And I want to point out something that's so distressing when you're here at these meetings. You only see it here. Only here do you see Commissioner Powell leave the room during public comment. Why is it that our people now, she won't turn now and even look. This is a people's meeting. This is our meeting. I'm telling you.
Sir, please,
I'm sorry, I'm very passionate. I want to talk about the parks resolution. Wonderful thing. I'm glad we have parks. I'm glad it's all wonderful. But I like to talk in hashtags. Hawthorne forever. Stop rebranding Pontiac. It's our park. Hawthorne is fine. We didn't need it. And the other hashtag is Crystal Lake. There were hundreds of thousands of dollars that were to be invested in Crystal Lake Park. We can't account for any of them. I want to out myself right now. I am proudly justice impacted. My glasses are broken. These are trifocals. I slept on the floor of the Oakland County Jail for 6 days this week. 6 days. I had a $25,000 cash bond. I could not leave until a second judge came and said, this is stupid. Let the guy out on his own recognizance. But I want our jail broken. And this is on the agenda because they're talking about a new building. We don't need new buildings. We need new training. We need a curriculum. We need training that makes a difference. We've got to stand up for our people. There are 400 people languishing right now in that jail. One gentleman, Hossein Talib, had a $1 million cash bond for a non-felony conviction. I know I'm using up my time. I'm sorry. I was going to be brief. But brevity is the soul of wit, and I don't have any. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dallas Oliver, items on the agenda, followed by Mary Miller, and then Marguerite Gupta.
Hi, my name is Dallas Oliver. I live in Berkeley, and I'm here because of the issues that people are trying, because of our orange clown from New York, wants to make it really hard for people to vote, and all of his minions are trying to make it hard for people to vote. I spent a full summer every day knocking doors for voters, not politicians, to make it easy to vote so everyone could vote. And we don't have a problem. Please stand really tall, stand up and make yourself seen and heard on this. It's important. It's our democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mary Miller, followed by Marguerite Gupta.
Good morning. My name is Mary Miller. I'm a resident of Novi, Michigan. We can't hear you. Hello, can you hear me now? Okay. I'm here this morning because Oakland County is moving in a direction that threatens transparency and civil liberties, and the public deserves better. I'm a semi-retired grandmother with a tight budget. I'm here without compensation at my own expense. No one will reimburse my mileage, pay for my attendance, but I'm here anyway because I care deeply about our rights, privacy, due process, and the ability to influence where our tax dollars go. Budget. Chair Woodward, I don't object to your nearly $85,000 salary for a part-time position. The job carries a real responsibility. What I object to is the appearance of extravagance and the disregard for taxpayer dollars and taxpayer interests, because Mr. Woodward and the majority of this commission are Democrats. I expect more from you. I seen the commission and I expect more from you, blah, blah, blah. In the past few months, I just haven't seen that. We do not expect self-dealing and stonewalling. What we do expect is to be heard as concerned citizens. Who's listening? We have 3 minutes. I've been up here and seen people leave just as soon as the comments start, turn their backs, play on their phones, use their computers, and do anything but engage with us and hear us, because it's not changing. Which brings me to Flock. Flock cameras are expensive, unproven, and risky. They produce false alerts, wrongful stops, and
Flock's not on the agenda.
it's in the budget.
The budget is not on the agenda. So can I put you at the top of the agenda? If you wrap up now,
someone talk
if
about
you can
Flock.
wrap up
I'll
quickly.
be brief. You're
Okay,
using my
there we
seconds.
go.
I reclaim my time. Let us be honest, if lock cameras were not dangerous and needed regulation, there would be no bipartisan bill in the House Judiciary Committee to regulate them. The state government recognizes the risk. Why don't you? I urge the board to join the community and stop this march toward a surveillance state. Reject block safety and restore public trust. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marguerite Gupta. Items on the agenda. I know you know the routine. Followed by Charles Thomas.
Thank you. My name is Margaret Gupta, Oakland Township, Michigan. This is in regard to what's on the agenda, 8A, for the presentation of the 2027 to 2029 budget.
Well,
If the
Marguerite, that's not on the
What's that?
consent or regular agenda. So
Well, these
if you
comments
wanna
said
talk
they
broadly-
started 1 month early, and this says, these are from, what you guys don't want to talk about are the FY 2025 budget areas of complete disdain, I think.
Okay.
You guys,
Marguerite,
if
you're
the
gonna talk
county
about
does
the
not have a
budget,
formal
Marguerite,
procedure
just wait a
for
second.
reconciling
Please
accounts.
stop Madam Clerk, please stop the clock. If you want to talk about the budget broadly, there's a second public comment
The
to be able to
budget,
do this.
Mr.
That
Cloutier
is
was
not-
given.
That is not on the agenda, Marguerite.
8A.
You've been here, you know
It
this.
is, 8A.
It is not on the agenda.
What are you talking about? It's
What-
on 8A.
8A.
Yeah. So, if they do not have a formal
That is
procedure
not- that is not the-
reconciling
that is-
accounts on a
Marguerite-
timely basis, how are we going to have a structurally sound, balanced
Marguerite,
budget?
Marguerite, that is not the agenda. That
All
is a
right, everybody,
presentation. The
go
agenda-
to the July 7th presentation of the subcommittee. Go to and look at all of the repeated violations. You guys are in jeopardizing the HUD budget. I'm telling you that right now. They said it's unclear how this meets the requirement for government accounting standards. The AFCR should include budgetary comparison schedules for individual non-major revenue event funds and government funds. They've told you the county should review its financial reporting policies to determine whether current reporting policies align with the requirements of GASB and Michigan law. You guys don't have any type of formal procedures when it comes to reconciling liabilities. It's clearly it's put in there. You guys are putting our money at risk, and I think you guys are playing a shell game with money. Because you're like, oh, we didn't know that was there. $40 million, you had 10 revisions when it came to, what was it? The CFA required more than 10 revisions. The reason why you guys started it in March is because you need the 3-year span of saying, hey, we need to play around with the money numbers. You guys started in March because that was your first letter. You came back in April, and you guys had to have the revisions, everything done with the accounting by the middle of June. This budget's not structurally sound. These are just keywords that you guys are saying, oh, we want a structurally sound. It isn't. You guys are going to risk the federal awards that we have coming towards us because you guys cannot reconcile liabilities. There's nothing here. You guys don't have any formal procedures. What is going on in the accounting department? We have no clue. You guys have $168 million that come in from federal funds. They're saying develop, adhere with appropriate oversight, the year-end close with defined tasks, deadlines, assigned responsibilities, oversights. You have to do that in a timely manner. You guys weren't even ready for the audit. I don't understand what is going on, but it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out. You guys don't have your act together. And now you're going to do a budget from 27 to 29. It's because you have to buy time.
Thank you very much. Charles Thomas and Nancy Krakowski.
I think I broke something. That's what I do. Good morning. My name is Charles Thomas. I'm a resident of the city of Southfield, and I'm here to ask for the commission to adopt the resolution against Michigan's version of the SAVE Act and the requirement for documentary proof of citizenship. When I speak on these issues, I speak from the position of legacy, having two aunts that are Selma foot soldiers and did the work to make it so that all citizens would have the right to vote and to be able to vote with some level of ease, even though that's never existed. But what we see happening now is that there are things that are being put in the way to make it so that voting is more difficult. And for the folks that are behind it, which they've already been introduced into this conversation, one of the things that I believe is that they've already done their research. They know about the fact that this issue of fraudulent voting or casting ballots illegally is almost a non-existent issue. There are organizations out there like the Heritage Foundation that look for things like this. This is what they do. And over the course of the last 44 years, they've found at the highest level less than 1,300 ballots that have been cast. And again, that's over the last 44 years, less than 30 a year, less than one per state. And so this is an issue that is non-existent, and so or to a great extent non-existent. And so if it is, then the question for me would have to be not about eliminating fraudulent voting, but who it is that they're trying to make it so that it's more difficult for them to vote. And when I talk about this, I always make it plain that that's something that not only that is known, but it is pushing us back to a place in our history where we are making it more difficult for the people who were never wanted to be allowed to vote in the first place. That's really what we're moving to. So we're talking about women, people of color, indigenous people. I know the difficulty of trying to get these documents. I know that for myself, my birth certificate and out-of-state birth certificate had mismatches, and it took months to get those things corrected. It took my sister over 6 months. This could make it so that folks will be totally disenfranchised if we don't start pushing back at this multi-pronged effort to make it so that the people who were never intended to vote are not allowed to vote unless we do something to prohibit that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you for speaking to the agenda. Next up is Nancy. And again, we're still on the public comment to speak on items on the consent and regular agenda, please.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Bob, for always coming to my rescue so I can speak without falling. I've asked for a podium at several meetings for residents to lean on and read their comments from, like the comfort the commission has with desks and chairs. Can we please have a podium? Thank you. I spent hours writing on the drones. They were on the agenda until minutes ago. I respectfully ask, as a conscientious citizen who took hours to write and took time out of my day, and my granddaughter, to read what was on the agenda until just now, that I may speak because you just took it off and I don't have time to write something else, and I do have something for second public comment, and I ask that I may speak as a fair gesture from the chair.
You can speak at that topic on the second agenda item.
I already have something. I write two.
I understand. But
and
it's
you
not on the
just
agenda.
took
Nancy,
it off.
It's the same rule.
But that's
it's the
not a
same
good
for
rule
everybody.
because people were not given any notice. Minutes. I don't
It was
have time to
discussed
write
and
something
the amendment,
else.
The agenda was
Okay,
approved
that's
by the
very
body.
unfair and undemocratic, Chair.
Okay. You will be able to speak on the item. I will put you towards the top for the second public comment. Okay, I think that concludes those that want to speak on items on the agenda. Oh, to speak on the agenda.
Hi, I'm Sharon Trumpy of Pleasant Ridge. I'd like to speak about the items that were moved from the consent agenda to the general agenda. Very much hoping that that is considered an agenda item. I wanted to say that I'm disappointed by the vote of most of the Democratic commissioners this morning to vote against moving those items from the consent agenda to the general agenda, and I want to explain why that matters to me. A consent agenda exists for one reason: to bundle non-controversial items into a single vote so meetings don't get bogged down. That's it. It's not supposed to be a way to quietly pass items that the public hasn't had a chance to hear discussed. In fact, a consent agenda isn't even part of Robert's rules. So most elected bodies, when they decide that they want to have the ability to bundle items on a consent agenda, need to pass a special rule to allow it. And that special rule includes a safety valve, a way for a member to move an item off the consent agenda for discussion. In many places, if even one member wants to discuss an item, it's supposed to come off the consent agenda automatically, no debate required, because the right to discuss and vote on each item individually is a basic right of the members themselves. It appears that this board has adopted policies that make it even harder than that to get something off of the consent agenda. That's what makes this vote so concerning to me. Commissioner Cavell used exactly that safety valve, asking for 4 items to get their own discussion and their own vote, and the majority of Democratic commissioners said no. When you vote down a request to simply discuss something, you're not protecting efficiency. You're deciding that the public doesn't get to hear that conversation at all. Your constituents have been asking repeatedly for greater transparency. When you vote to keep items buried in a bundled, no debate vote, instead of just letting them be discussed openly, you're sending the message that some things are meant to move through this board without any scrutiny. That undermines our trust, regardless of the actual content of those items. I'd ask this board to consider adopting a clearer, lower threshold for pulling items off the consent agenda. Even a single commissioner's request should be enough, as is standard practice in many governing bodies. I'd also ask the commissioners who voted no, to explain publicly why they didn't want those 4 items discussed in front of us. Transparency is not a courtesy that you extend. It's not for convenience. It's the baseline that this board owes the people it represents, and I hope you'll take it seriously going forward.
Thank you very much.
My name is Mariam, and I live in Troy. So my comments that are about the agenda, one thing is something that happened while we went through the agenda, or whatever we went through so far today. I just commenting on what someone said about how people's backs are turned, which I just thought was important. This is not my whole thing that I'm talking about. This is just a side note. I couldn't pick any of you either. Like, I feel like there are many of you that I couldn't pick out of a lineup, and I've been here since like February. Like, I'm just saying, like, someone mentioned someone's name, and I was like, I have no idea who that is or what they look like, but I've been going to these meetings for 4 months. So something's wrong with that. This was just my introduction. This is not the contents of what I'm saying. We can calm down. I just wanted to repeat something that someone else earlier than me said, which was that there's $40,000 for travel again in this new budget, which I think I'm just repeating that to say that we basically asked for that much for food aid. So, you know, how many, I don't know if people are arguing, I'm hearing chatter. I don't know if you're responding to what I'm saying. Did I get something wrong? Okay, sorry. You're throwing me off.
Miriam, direct to me.
Okay, $42,000 in travel reimbursements. So that's the amount that we've been asking for in food aid. So I'd just like to ask, how many, hungry Oakland County residents could you have fed with the amount of money that you're using for yourself? And how many people could you have stopped from being wrongfully deported and detained with the money if it had gone to legal aid? So I just would like for you to think seriously about, we're seeing what you're doing with your money, and it's just showing that you can do things and you're not doing them. And we're just left to guess what the answer is, because you're saying you care, but you're not doing anything to show that you care. So thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Mia DeCircio, and I'm a resident of Bloomfield Township. I am here to urge this commission to formally oppose the state version of the SAVE Act, House Bill 4765. This legislation is an unnecessary. Oh, also, I'm with the Michigan League of Conservation Voters, Democracy for All team. This legislation is an unnecessary barrier that targets our most vulnerable neighbors. Michigan already has a highly secure elections, creating a mandate that forces voters to produce a birth certificate or passport, which can cost over $150 to replace, functions as a modern-day poll tax. This will disenfranchise low-income residents, seniors, and students. I ask this board to pass a resolution protecting the voting access and fundamental rights of all eligible Oakland County citizens. And I also am here to urge this commission to formally to cut any ties with sorry, I went away. To cut all ties between the Columbus system and ICE. While local leadership has made statements indicating a desire to end these contracts, residents are looking to see that commitment turned into permanent action. Arguments often include that Actually, I think I've made myself clear, but thank you. And
Thank you very much.
Also, I have, for people who are interested, again, Michigan League of Conservation Voters, we're a nonpartisan environmental lobbying group in Michigan, and we're just doing collecting voter pledges. We're nonpartisan.
Ma'am,
Collecting
ma'am,
voter pledges
ma'am, this is the public comment portion, so not a town hall meeting. Is there any, did that conclude? I think that was the last person for the public comment on the items of the agenda. There will be a public comment on non-related. Public comment on items on the consent and regular agenda. Please. Yeah,
if you can't see how these connect to it or the giant rippling effect that these things have, then you are the willfully ignorant and you are ignoring reality.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Can you please state your name for the record? We have to put it in the. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need it to put it in my minutes.
Is this? There's a hand that went up. Is it for the first public comment on items on the agenda?
Listen, I signed up for public comment number 2, and I have a whole speech for that. But I feel compelled. Am I the last conservative in Oakland County? These people behind me are so deluded. I'm talking about voting integrity, which, by the way, I've been involved in for 3 years. Don't you ever say Michigan is the safe and secure election nirvana, because it's not. A couple of things. Your Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, also running for governor. I can't believe it. Oh, yes, it is. Dear heart,
to the resolution.
It is.
It's the resolution
and I'm going to
dealing with
personally
opposing
chastise the head of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee after I finish trashing Jocelyn Benson. Okay, 10, listen, literally 10, I'm just so angry I could spit, but I won't. There are 10,
please be respectful of everybody. Everyone's been afforded the opportunity to speak.
Listen, 10 legal government violations. 10 times Jocelyn Benson was overruled by judges. So this is the kind of safe and secure elections we have. And the reason I'm bringing this up, dear Brendan Johnson, don't mean to point at you, I'm directing it to you, you're right, is this. How dare you, this government body here, go against and want to issue a resolution against, you know what 700,000 Michigan residents signed petitions to get on the ballot. And I'm thinking behind me too, how dare you want to criticize what 700,000 Michigan residents, they must feel that, hey, maybe there's something wrong with our elections if 700,000 people signed a petition to get only citizens vote on this election. Was that clear enough?
Very good.
No. You know what?
Thank you. Hey,
I just,
excuse me.
I don't
Everybody, come
agree
on.
with
Come on.
anybody behind
Everyone's
me.
been-
I
be
believe
respectful for everybody.
that
Thank-
our elections could use more election integrity.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Okay. Now we're going to close the public comment for the first time. There'll be a second public comment to speak to, what? Oh, Clerk Brown asked to speak in public comment. So
Thank
one
you.
last person, then we're closing. Clerk Brown.
Okay, I will do my best. So I feel compelled to speak today in regards to some of the comments that have been said. I don't endorse candidates. I don't endorse ballot proposals. As the chief election administrator of the county, I don't find that appropriate. But as the chief election administrator of the county, I do find it part of my job to educate voters on voting and our elections. First, I want to share that people have talked about different parties, different groups that would be disenfranchised more than others if this were to be a ballot proposal or a bill, since there's legislation in the state. My team and I go to the jail. In Michigan, people who are awaiting sentencing, even though they're behind bars, they're awaiting sentencing, they are not currently serving a sentence, have the right to vote in this state. And my team and I, we went towards the end of June, we went across the street to the jail. We do this often. We registered 47 people to vote and issued 64 requests for absentee ballots. I have to tell you, those people have no ID on them, okay? So there's another group of people that would be disenfranchised. This ballot proposal would have, and I will talk about it more in my budget presentation, but it will have budget impact to us. In our canvas, I have seen, we have found people, US citizens, who have voted more than once. That is a crime. I have not seen where non-citizens have voted. On the voter registration form, there are 2 questions at the very top. And when I register people to vote, I say, before you fill in your name, before you do anything, I need you to do those 2 questions at the top. The first is, I'm going to put it in my own words, are you old enough, right? Will you be 17 and a half by the next election? The other question is, are you a US citizen? We're asking that when people register to vote. People have talked about needing a driver's license or a passport and the cost for that. I also want to include that that could also be court records and other documents that there also is a fee for. Poll taxes were outlawed a long time ago. So I just, I'll leave my 18 seconds left. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we'll close the first public comment, which will bring us to the consent agenda. And the consent agenda, because I want to speak to some comments that were brought up before. The items that get on the consent agenda go through our committee process and are passed unanimously. They're deliberated there. There's an opportunity for commissioners to ask questions. And so when we speak to transparency, that all these items have been discussed by a smaller subset of the board before they come before the full board. And at this time, once I ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda, any item on the consent agenda can be discussed if commissioners want to engage in debate. Singular items, groups of items, clusters of committees, what have you. So I want to underscore the point that there is layers of transparency and deliberation that go through this entire process. So with that, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Weipert, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Is there any discussion on any items on the consent agenda? Commissioner Lubes, followed by Commissioner Cavell.
I would just like to know one item on the consent agenda is the Disarmory Ministries from our Safer Communities Initiative. So this is an agency to support gun buyback and gun disposal events. So the next event is August 1st, then September 5th, and October 3rd from 10 to 2 p.m. at the Disarmory Ministries location, 2312 Greenfield Road in Berkeley.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Cavell.
I was going to have some questions for the consent agenda, but then we moved it to the regular agenda, so I'll withhold those till then.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other discussion? Seeing none, excuse me, I'm sorry. Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to just draw the folks' attention. Obviously, we do tri-party that comes out of the Economic Development Infrastructure Committee. As I traverse through Oakland County, people are like, oh, orange barrels this, orange barrels that, and sometimes even local Department of Public Works will come up to us and say like, oh, we need more money. You know, can the county help us pay for said road? And I just want to reiterate that the county has stepped up in a number of ways, this in particular with our tri-party road improvement plan. That's just a highlight. The other thing I wanted to state is I'm really excited about, because we hear a lot of times about homelessness and what is Oakland County doing about homelessness here. It's a small drop in the bucket, but we do have a grant from Eagle that is going to help the Hope Shelters in Pontiac with their 16 full-time and 32 part-time permanent jobs. It's a capital investment of about $7.5 million to redevelop the property that will eventually be able to accommodate seniors over 60 in a recuperative shelter style environment. It's not congregant, which I thought was amazing. These people will have their own units, access to just a little bit of respite from having to deal with humans, and give them an opportunity to have some placemaking. And so that is under consent, and we're excited about that coming out of EDI.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Commissioner Markham.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. I'll be quick. I just want to lift up the idea of all of the sponsorships that are in the consent agenda today. They follow a number of others. We probably have about 40 that we've done through the current budget. And what these are small dollar donations, partnerships with local communities to help them highlight events that they're having right in their community. We've spread it all across the county. It's a really terrific program that we do, and I just want to recognize that today's are in Southfield, Novi, Pontiac, I forget where that place is, the Nature Center, Supporting Stage, and then Huntington Woods. So we're all over the county with these sponsorships, and I really appreciate all of the commissioners who lift up the items in their local communities for our support.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to get some clarification on 12C under finance, as Commissioner Markham was just talking about with the sponsorships. Is this item 5,000 or 7,500? Because there's two different dollar amounts laced in the two different documents that's attached to this item. So could you get some clarification? Is the request 5,000 or is the request 7,500?
It's 5,000.
There might need to be some fixing on one of the documents attached.
Yeah.
I think from the committee discussion, it was 5,000, so administratively, we can fix that. It'll be a $5,000.
We've gotten toward the end of the year, and we're trying to support as many of these as we can. A few of them were asked to reduce the amount of money that they were asking for so that more projects could be completed, and that's what happened.
Thank you.
Commissioner Powell.
I just ask that the error be corrected, but to bring attention to the agenda item posting that explains what this is, it does reflect a current amount. Just
Right.
want to clear that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And staff will address administrative issues. I think that concludes any discussion on the consent agenda. With that, Madam Clerk, can you please prompt the vote on the consent agenda?
Commissioner Cavell? Can you vote? Are you voting yes, or are you just saying yes?
Yes for the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, we have 17 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The consent agenda is adopted. That will bring us to the regular agenda. And I will start with the chair of the Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee, the Honorable Commissioner Yolanda Smith-Charles.
Who do you call honorable? Good day. I think it's morning still. Okay. Good morning again. Welcome to the items here under regular agenda for Economic Development Infrastructure. We have 3. 2 of them are appointments. I'll start with the appointment of 2 additional Economic Development Corporation directors for the Lord's Senior Community Project in the Charter Township of Waterford is my motion to
Moved by
adopt.
Commissioner Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Markham. Is there any discussion?
Can we second it by Commissioner?
Moved by Commissioner
Joliet?
Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Joliet.
No offense.
If we can make that change. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please prompt the vote?
Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The appointments are confirmed. Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Thank you, Chair. The next motion to adopt would be for sponsorship, of the appointment of 2 additional Economic Development Corporation directors for the Lighthouse Michigan project in the city of Pontiac.
Moved by Commissioner Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Powell. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
What's happening back there?
Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The appointments are confirmed. Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Yes, thank you. As was noted earlier, this item was unanimously voted out of the Economic Development Infrastructure Committee, moved from consent, put onto regular agenda. So I do move for adoption the purchase of 3255 West Hamlin Road for a training facility for Oakland County Sheriff's Office.
Moved by Commissioner Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Spivs. Any discussion? Commissioner Cavell.
Thank you, Chair. I will not be supporting this for 2 big reasons. First is financial. We were told in committee and in caucus that there is a tripling of the current training center's rent from $12,000 to $36,000 a month. That's a lot. But we're going to put $10.5 million into this new building, which if you just do the quick math on that, that's 291 months of rent or over 24 years. So this is not fiscally prudent, in my opinion. That does not also negate the fact that we can't have leaky roofs. We can make improvements, but we shouldn't be wasting money. The second thing is I also can't support these sorts of gestures as long as the sheriff seems to be unable to expand his training unit to be what it currently is, which is extremely small, and not having all the resources they need. So if the staff is not taken care of first, then what are we going to do with this big, huge facility?
Any further discussion? Commissioner Spitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be supporting this. It's good to see us develop a better location for the Sheriff's Department to do training versus where it was, because it was on a very northeast corner of the county, for one, in a building that was not owned by us and somewhat dilapidated and did need improvements. On top of the fact, we've been trying to get a improved training center for the Sheriff's Office for years. I know we did a study 5-6 years ago, so it's good to see us make that step forward and put some support behind the need to train one of the best Sheriff's Department in the country. So I will support this.
Thank you. Commissioner Markham.
I just want to add one small point, and that is the landlord of the building is, excuse me,
The landlord that owns the building wants us gone. They do not want us to stay in the building, so that's one of the reasons.
Of the current
Of the current building. That's why we went out following the plan to find a new facility.
Commissioner Powell.
I also wanted to add 2 points that I added in caucus. One is that this is the training facility where they're not planning to come back and ask us for any additional training facility. And I applaud Spears, because yes, the Sheriff's Department been asked for a training facility for a long time, especially since I've been serving. The second thing is, as my Commissioner Long always asks, we have a big capital improvement bill or things that we're gonna have to deal with, and did we fine tooth comb any of the properties we already own that would have sufficed in this space? And we didn't. So with that being said, I just wanted to make those 2 points also as to why I am supporting this new training facility for our Sheriff's Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. Any further discussion? I might just add one thing, as has been mentioned, a need for a location to meet the training needs. It's not just the sheriff deputies that use this training, but it's the collaborative joint training with all of our local law enforcement agencies and even those beyond the area. So whether it's training SRO officers, training law enforcement agencies to identify human trafficking, whether it's the regular ongoing training that's necessary to make sure that we maintain an exemplar department, that needs to happen. And so when you look at this facility, and putting it basically in our full control, where we not only can control the maintenance of the facility itself, and if those who have been to the Brandon location would know, the undersheriff talked about how the roof just opened up and poured into the facility. Not just having a facility that meets the training needs that's out there, but to do so in a fiscally responsible way, stretched out over very many years, taking recognition of a tripling of rent. This is like the right time, a reasonable time, and a way that we can fiscally afford to do this over the next many years. And so I am very supportive of this, because I think everyone, and I think this is why it was unanimously adopted in committee, everyone understands the value of training and putting the resources in training, and this facility will allow the department to do more and better training in a more convenient location for more people to participate in. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, will you please prompt the vote?
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 1 nay.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Smith-Charles.
That concludes the regular agenda items from the Economic Development Infrastructure Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to the Finance Committee, and I will call up the Honorable Chair, Commissioner Gwen Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Finance Committee has one item on the regular agenda, and that is the Comprehensive Information Technology Service Agreement renewals. And I will move that.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. While I do appreciate that additional information from last week, oh, can you hear me? Oh, perfect. While I appreciate that additional information has been provided to commissioners, I won't be supporting this, because I do believe that a 5-year agreement should have and require commissioners to have this information before they vote on it. And because of that, I'm voting no this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Long.
Thank you. To piggyback on Commissioner Nelson, so this was in finance and we didn't have the real numbers last Wednesday, so I voted no. We were told that they do that often, just by kind of from the trends from 2024. So I asked for the real hard numbers for this, and apparently it got to us last night. I was not able to look at it. I was on my email or my agenda till 9:30 last night, and I don't remember getting an email or anything. So I'm not going to be supporting this today. I did not get a chance to look at the information they sent over, and I hopefully in the future I feel like we're on finance committee for a reason. It's finance, it's numbers. So we should have the numbers before we vote on something. It's all about the cost of stuff. So I hope in the future that they get it, if they don't have it in finance and I vote no, that I get it in a more timely manner so that I could vote for it today in the board meeting. But I didn't have time to review it, so I will be a no. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Cavell.
I think this highlights what was said in public comment and the importance of just more broadly, not necessarily that there's something nefarious or untoward or unethical happening with our local leaders, not even speaking of that, but speaking of the simple fact of what Commissioner Long said, which is when you come to finance, have the finances together. But if you don't do that, then that's not just a disrespect of us as commissioners, but of the public's right to know what their taxes are going towards. And I think this is the pattern of what I've been lifting up with communications or slipping in with the auto theft protection flock grant is it's just us not minding the shop that then lets things fall through the cracks, that then allows people to act unethically and get away with it. So we have to be the ones holding the line and keeping people accountable. But this does not do that.
Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for some clarification, given that the fiscal analysis for this item was sent in a memo, how do we make sure that this memo actually makes its way onto the actual resolution? So nobody's chasing tail in the future when you want additional information. How are we going to make sure that the fiscal analysis is not on a memo, but also laced within the resolution? What is our protocol for that? Hello?
Commissioner, no. I'm looking at the item that you're, talking about.
I appreciate that. Thanks for acknowledging.
The Commissioner Markham. I think it's important for us to understand exactly what this is, and so Commissioner Spiz, maybe Commissioner Spiz, you want to jump in first?
Yeah. Well, I was going to make a motion to postpone.
To
get that information because Commissioner Nelson's correct.
First we're going to come to Commissioner Markham.
Yeah.
Okay, so what this item is it's a detailing of the agreements that we have with other local governments where we're providing service to them. So for example, a local city, we may be providing IT support for their billing. They come through Oakland County's computers to do the billing, and we get paid for that. That's the funding that we're talking about. So as the finance chair, I have to admit, I didn't think it was as crucial to examine these numbers because it was money coming to us, not so much money going out. But I can understand Commissioner Long's point in committee, and so that's what the items were.
And I'll recognize Commissioner Spiz in just a second, but as I understand that this is a cost-neutral proposal. And so so from a scrutiny and from a fiduciary responsibility, they're a cost-neutral item. Commissioner Spiz.
Just to expand on what Commissioner Markham said, this is something we as Oakland County have been doing for a decade plus, helping to support some of the smaller municipalities outside of the county that don't have the IT services that we already have. So we're allowed them to jump onto our services. But all that being said, Commissioner Nelson is correct, Commissioner Long is correct. We should understand what those numbers are to make sure we're cost neutral. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to postpone until our next meeting to get that information into the contracts, or at least in front of us so that we have it.
It's not into the contract. So the information that was sent out at the request of other commissioners, is that what you're asking for?
That is what I'm asking for.
And I think staff has that, can distribute that right now.
Yeah, but I'd like it to be, as part of the package.
Moved by Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Cavell to postpone. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The motion passes. The item will be postponed to the next meeting.
That concludes the report of the Finance Committee today.
Thank you very much. Next up, I will call the chair of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, the Honorable Commissioner Brendan Johnson.
Hi, thank you. I had nothing on consent today. Everything is on the regular agenda, so hope folks are comfortable.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move the adoption of a resolution entitled Resolution Opposing Michigan Constitutional Amendment that would disenfranchise Oakland County citizens.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Smith-Charles. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am just going to take a comment real fast here. I'm not normally singled out during public comment. Several years ago, 500,000 of my neighbors and fellow Michiganders signed a petition similar to this one back in 2004 to ban me, Brendan Johnson, from ever getting married, and that initiative was successful. And to this day, it is constitutionally prohibited for same-sex couples to get married in the state of Michigan. You ask me how I dare to stand and oppose this similar ballot initiative? Gleefully, with the same vigor that I am in love today, and I dare to be in love today. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? No further discussion? Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Don't come for me.
Mr. Chair, you have 11 yeas, 6 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Moving on to item 16B, I move the approval of the Articles of Incorporation establishing a Southeast Michigan Public Historical Museum Authority.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Taylor. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Spiz, followed by Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is one of those items that I can understand the request. And as a big fan of history, I even more understand the request. But what I have a hard time understanding is we in this chamber on multiple occasions continue to discuss affordable housing, right? And now this is a potential to add an additional tax onto everybody in this county that owns property. So we say one thing and then we go into another direction. I know we're just forming an authority today, but ultimately once this goes on the ballot and potentially gets approved, that's another tax on every property owner in this county and other counties. So with that case, I am going to oppose this.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward. I support the DIA, the museums in Detroit, the Oakland County parks, but I guess the question is, as Commissioner Spiz says, when is enough enough? When the DIA came to us, it was a temporary tax. I supported it, I voted for it to save that art in Detroit. They were never coming back. They were setting up a foundation. Lo and behold, before it expired, they were back again. In this past November, it was put on the ballot, which I voted against doing it because it was a 90% increase for the Parks and Rec millage, and it wasn't set to expire for a couple of years. Now the Oakland Schools is here with a brand new tax, and it'll raise $131 million the first year. Now, this museum tax, if it goes on, will raise another $17 million the first year. And I say the first year because under Proposal A, our taxes automatically go up every year. The rate of inflation are 5%, whatever is lower. And the thing is, we do talk about affordable housing. People can't buy a house till they're a little older now. And we're just increasing it. In my opinion, property tax should go away. You should own your property someday. And then we want to come up with programs to help first-time home buyers to take some more of the taxpayers' hard-earned money and subsidize something else. That is not the solution to the problem. Enough is enough, and I'm not in favor of another tax.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Smith-Charles, followed by Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Chair. I hear my colleagues loud and clear. We recognize the DIA as a valued museum in our area, and residents in Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb have gotten an opportunity to utilize that museum at no charge, along with transportation for seniors and others. But the DIA happens to not be my favorite museum in the city of Detroit. It happens to be the Detroit Historical Museum, which by far is the most intriguing of all to me. But I'm also checked with people in my community, and we don't want to see the Charles fail either. And so when I did my straw poll of people that I know who don't even go to museums, actually, they just know of them, they were like, we don't want to see the Charles fail. And so if this is an opportunity to support that, I am here for it. I think, again, the Detroit Historical and the Charles are some of our most treasured museums, and I would like to see Oakland County participate as it's been proposed today.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Powell.
And this museum space is something that is needs to be on our radar. As we know, and as our chair, Brendan Johnson, stated, museums is the first funding to be on the chopping block. And if we're trying to conserve our history and everything else, that's very important to a lot of us. We need to be supporting things like this. And last I know, the team that came before us that's pushing this initiative stated that, oh, and by the way, once this passed, 2.5 of this funding is going to go towards our Oakland County museums. So therefore, this time, we're finally also seeing a give back. And we're going to be able to keep our own museums up and running in our own community, because every commissioner on here has gotten a call from the museums stating their financial challenges. And if they do not get any help, they're going to have to close. So therefore, I commend and I respect and I encourage all commissioners to support such an initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? Commissioner Gershenson.
Just to be clear, this is to establish an authority. The voters will decide whether or not they want this tax. So it is not something we're voting on today. We're voting to let the process proceed so that the voters will be able to make that determination. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote on the resolution.
Mr. Chair, you have 11 yeas, 6 nays.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Moving along to item 16C. The Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee recommends the following appointment to reappoint Pam Hansen as Township Official Representative to the Land Bank Authority for a 3-year term beginning August 18th, 2026 and concluding August 17th, 2029.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The appointment is confirmed. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you very much. The final item on the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee report is item 16D. I move the approval of the Voluntary Early Separation Incentive Program for the Equalization Division.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Cavell.
I just wanted to lift up that a little over a year ago, we were warned by members of Oakland County's Equalization Division that this would happen, that there would be a decimation of this department. It used to have 80-some employees. It now has 59. We used to have contracts with 32 communities. We now have contracts with 10. And we were the ones that decided to make that happen. And we were the ones that heard why we shouldn't do this and then went ahead anyways. And now what's happening is after we've cut everyone off at the knees, we're telling them that they're short. This is not good. I will support it because we got to treat people right, because what's done is done. But like, everyone who voted for this did this to these employees that are now having to leave, or early retirements, or need a VESIP, or had to get a new job. And you all say that you care about working people.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to directly respond to that, yes, you're completely correct. That is what we were told, and that is what we as a board decided to do. When this item first came to me, I was extremely skeptical, and I gave some folks within the executive's office tongue lashing, you can politely say. And I was worried about it because it proved us right in a way, a tragic way. I am happy about this program, though, as a good initiative that has both union buy-in. The UAW does support this, and the administration supports this as a just method of dealing with what I think is a long-term transition issue that we're not going to see the resolution of until probably 10 years from now. So no, I'm not thrilled at all by how things have worked out, but I think that it is, for what we can do with where we are now, this is a pretty good way to do things. Not a single employee is being told to leave. Not a single employee is being displaced. This is a creative way to find other things for them to do and to offer a thank you buyout for anyone who is at retirement age and wants to take that opportunity. I know my father took one from his corporate job, and he appreciated that opportunity when they were downsizing. It's better than getting laid off. I'm happy to provide our employees the same opportunity.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Powell.
So, Commissioner Johnson, I just wanted to get clarity again. As far as the working pool that ended up choosing another option, we did not displace anybody, correct?
No one has been told they can no longer do the job they're doing. Folks have been asked to consider other jobs, and I do know that HR has been working with folks within our equalization department to find other opportunities within Oakland County, but no one has been fired, no one has been laid off. We will not do that, not while I'm here, absolutely not.
And then also, some of those workers opted to go to these other municipalities and work for them with their own assessment and things in this nature, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. Any further discussion? Commissioner Cavell for a second time.
Just to be clear, a year ago, when we all decided to move forward with these rate increases that ended up cutting this department and decimating it to where it is today, yes, people left. Yes, people took an early retirement. Yes, people will take an early retirement from this. But you destabilized their lives. They had to get new jobs. They had to get pay cuts. They had to change what they were doing, and we left them high and dry after they told us we would be leaving them high and dry.
Commissioner Cavell, no one's been left high and dry. No one has lost their job. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Commissioner Gershenson, just a thank you. Mr. Chair, sorry. Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Johnson.
That concludes the report of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee.
Thank you very much. I will now move on to the Public Health and Safety Committee and call on the Honorable Chair, Commissioner Penny Loops.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 2 items to present. The first is a grant application to the United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice, for the fiscal year 2026 Burn Community Project for the Oakland County Northern Border Patrol helicopter. So our present helicopter...
Let me just get some of the formalities out of the way. Yes. Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Powell. Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you. Our present helicopter is at the end of its life. We use the helicopter for to support search and rescue operations and other large-scale events. So this grant application is contingent upon the pending transfer of a twin-engine helicopter from the National Guard. So the grant funding would be used to refurbish this helicopter from the National Guard.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Cavell.
Yeah, this is one of those things that passed unanimously out of committee. Just to make sure I get the title for you, because I know you cut it off there, Chair. This is a discretionary community project grant for the Oakland County Northern Border Patrol helicopter, just to make sure that that was spoken fully. And the other thing I just want to lift up why I'm not going to be supporting this, one, how much is enough? We have 7 flock drones. We already have 2 helicopters. I know this would rehab a helicopter, but also if you notice, if the National Guard transfer request is not approved, the Sheriff's Office will request a grant modification to use the awarded funding, together with proceeds from the sale of one of its existing helicopters, to purchase a newer Airbus H125, which I don't know if you guys Googled it, but that's more than $2.1 million. So while there is no fiscal impact today, there is when they come back asking for more money for another helicopter if the National Guard doesn't come through on this. And if the National Guard does come through on this, then we will just be helping with the Oakland County Northern Border Patrol part of the 2026 Burn Discretionary Community Project grant. So I'm not voting for this.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that there's a lot of things that have transpired over the many years now with the helicopters. So this body has had lots of really great discussions over the years in regards to helicopters. The one thing I would like to get some clarification on, I know this is just a grant application, so this will come back to the board, but if we could get confirmation on how many helicopters we presently have right now, because I'm hearing a couple different numbers between the 1 and the 2, but more specifically my question is, have we ever gotten an update from the previous helicopter that crashed and we had sent down to Dallas, and I don't believe we've ever gotten a report from the Public Health and Safety Committee. As somebody who used to sit on Public Health and Safety Committee, I know that there's been lots of conversations about helicopters, but I just would like to get an update on, are we looking at replacing a helicopter because we are burning the helicopter that's supposedly in Dallas, or is this in addition to the fleet? So if we could get some clarification between now and when this comes back to committee for the grant acceptance, that would be great.
The sheriff, the undersheriff, and the aviation unit can be happy to get all that information and encourage commissioners to reach out there directly. That's veered a little bit off this grant application. This grant application exists because it's a congressional earmark that was awarded, and that's what's facilitating this. And so this is the grant application that will also come back if awarded, and I think there'll be plenty of time to engage the sheriff's office to ask what are all the current plans and ongoing plans. I don't think it's necessary for this grant application discussion.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 1 nay.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lutz.
Thank you. Our next item is a motion to accept the donation from Mission Oakland for a Honda Pioneer side-by-side valued at $15,000.
Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion? Commissioner Cavell.
Thank you, Chair. This is yet another donation to the Sheriff's Office from a nonprofit, which, by the way, the Sheriff is intimately involved in. The address to this nonprofit, according to their IRS documents, is 38 East, the Sheriff's headquarters, for whatever that's worth. But this nonprofit received a donation of $15,000 for a Honda Pioneer side-by-side. The Sheriff's budget in our upcoming 2027 fiscal year is going to be over $230 million. If he wanted to not subvert democracy, or this is, I guess, the path of least resistance. So maybe it's not him, but the path of least resistance here is using a nonprofit to then receive a donation, which provides for less accountability of our government and what it's used for. The reason he has to come ask for this is because there's ongoing costs that are not accounted for that will then have to be added to his $230 million budget, not already budgeted. So again, he could just ask us for the money for this, and we would gladly give it to him because we give him $230 million other dollars. But this is then an end run that, again, you all are allowing to happen. It's not the sheriff's fault that he's able to pull the wool over your eyes and keep getting all these donations so that he doesn't have to have as much accountability, because we're supposed to hold people accountable in our departments and our offices, including the sheriff. He's just doing his job to try and get what he wants for what he thinks is best, but you are letting him get away with it.
Commissioner Lubes, followed by Commissioner Johnson.
So the maintenance is currently budgeted in the Sheriff's Office Patrol Services Unit, and this ATV would be used for special events, missing person search, rescue callouts, or any other environment where a traditional vehicle would not make it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Johnson, followed by Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you. I totally understand that, but I mean, Commissioner Cavell is completely correct in this one. I really struggle with this as a backdoor appropriation. I have no problem with the concept of departments asking us for hardware and us appropriating for hardware. That is our job. That is a normal, healthy relationship. I don't know much about this nonprofit other than that one of the things that it did was raise money to support the family of Detective Reckling in my community. And I wonder what's going on in that nonprofit where they don't have more important things to do than buy hardware for us that we then have to keep care of and find space in a parking shed and all that good stuff. Like I said, I don't begrudge any department from asking the board for appropriations to do things that are necessary. If there's a real need, that's totally fine, and I'm happy to have that conversation. But receiving hardware donations is just a really big loophole that I don't love as an appropriative body. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you. I agree with what has been said, so I'm not going to reinvent the wheel by saying the same thing. Although I do want to just point out, because I have brought this up many times with many different donations, I like the fact that they did clearly state where the maintenance costs were going to be coming from. Whether or not you agree with it or disagree with it, I appreciate the transparency in at least documenting that. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cavell.
Yeah, just want to give Penny a shout out. I missed that line, so she was right. Maintenance is included, but again, the whole accountability thing and the stuff Brendan just said also still applies, so I still won't vote for it. But thank you, Penny, for the correction.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there no further discussion? Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 14 yeas, 3 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lubes.
There's no other business from the Public Health and Safety Committee meeting this morning. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And that will conclude, just checking just to make sure we got everything. That will conclude the regular agenda, so move us on to new and miscellaneous business. And I believe there's one resolution for introduction, the support of the Oakland County Historical Organizations Coordination. Who's introducing that? It being introduced by Commissioner Markham and referred to finance, right? Or is that the, yes, referred to finance.
Okay.
Okay, without objection.
It might be somebody, it might be a different committee, but yes.
Referred to finance or the appropriate committee as staff determines. How about that? Without objection. All right, that moves to announcements. I don't see any announcements, so we'll move us to, this is our second public comment, so this is the opportunity for any person to speak on any topic. I'm going to start by a couple people who signed up for the first one, and then we'll move on to the next. So I'm going to start with Tracy Peace.
Hello.
As a resident of Oakland County for the better part of 55 years, I don't want, nor do I trust FLAC. I don't care how it's presented, it's a slippery slope. Any kind of surveillance doesn't really affect people who look like me or the majority of the people who are in this room right now. It negatively affects the Black and brown community. That's the issue, or at least it should be. Instead, it's about one commissioner, one vote out of 13, and a group called I Am Oakland County on a crusade for transparency and recalling Commissioner Woodward. Okay, I respect that. But transparency goes both ways. Who remembers what happened when Engler and Patterson took office? And it's okay if you don't remember because you were still in diapers, because I remember it vividly. That was the year that I was diagnosed with manic depression. That is before you had safe spaces, before you had mental health days, and self-care meant that you brushed your hair, brushed your teeth, and wore clean clothes. Now, in 1997, Engler, bound and determined to shut down every single mental health facility, completed it by shutting down the Pontiac State Hospital. Advocates, local officials, Sheriff Bouchard went ahead and warned that the transition of institutionalization and community care lacked sufficient placement. For 22 years, I was in hell. But the only thing that would have made it even worse is if I were Black, because it was then that mental health was then criminalized. I have an issue that you're going after a commissioner who was the driving force of getting rid of the opt-out, the Swiss cheese opt-out plan for public transit, where 41 out of 61 communities in Oakland County went ahead and decided to opt out. Cities like Waterford, cities like Rochester Hills, Rochester, Novi, and let's not forget West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, or Bloomfield Township. That affected me.
Please, thank you very much. Thank you, Tracy. Next up, I'm going to call Nancy Pavrovsky.
And anybody that's on. Nancy Poprovsky, Royal Oak, August 4th, registered U.S. voters in Michigan will have the right to vote for what they see as just. Or do they? Do we really have the best candidates we can trust? Some candidates are becoming more hypocritical. As a green, independent Democrat, I like hearing when officials and candidates believe it is critical we cut down our carbon footprint to fight climate change by eliminating our dependency on fossil fuels. If these policies are true, why do some Democrats support multi-billion-dollar Republican gas stations like Sheetz, who is a predatory corporation, shutting down small businesses and promoting more gas sales? You can't lower the carbon footprint if you're joining forces and taking money from these predatory companies. It's hypocritical. Why are some Democrats supporting data centers? Isn't it hypocritical if you're promoting saving the Great Lakes while you don't cut down on data centers? that use 1 to 5 million gallons of water daily. Lake Powell in Arizona, the second largest reservoir in the US, is nearing critical low water elevation levels. Are we next? Water has become a $1 trillion industry, and multi-billion-dollar corporations are buying up farmland to secure water rights. We all know Nestle's one of the biggest offenders. For heaven's sakes, boycott and shut down these corporate vampires. If we don't put a moratorium on these invasive data centers, our Great Lakes could be another lost natural resource forever to greed. Just yesterday, New York enacted a 1-year moratorium on large data centers. Are we too selfish to try this, at least for our children's future? Back to August 4th voting. I've read up on the candidates, and most will not commit to slowing down on data centers, not taking PAC money, or letting big business take over. Governor Whitmer threw us under the bus when selling out to a $16 billion data center in Saline with the help from Jocelyn Besson's husband, people I voted for. Whitmer's current vague pledges with greedy data centers that say and mean nothing because she knows that 1 to 5 million gallons of water will be extracted daily, never suggesting a moratorium or cutting back on energy usage. Data centers are just another rogue DTE waiting to happen, even though they pretend accountability. How naive are we? And why aren't there more Democrats speaking up against these disgusting energy-sucking projects? Cha-ching! Where will it all end if we don't support Democratic candidates or officials that are ethical? It won't end unless we all care about everyone and our children's future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trying to make out the first name, last name Hayhoop. Is it Jake? It's like the middle letter was like hard to read.
Oh, it's okay. It's Haiku. My name is, not morning anymore, but good morning. My name is Jake Haiku, White Lake Township. I'm a recent high school graduate. And I think if I was any of your children, I think I would make you proud. I graduated with a 3.8 GPA in high school. I'm bilingual. I got into my top choice school all the way down in North Carolina, the day after I applied, with a scholarship I couldn't turn down. I go to church every Sunday, and my faith is something I hold dear. There are a lot of people proud of me, but I wanted to know, do you know anyone who's proud of you? This commission continuously refuses to take action against ICE tearing apart our families in this county. No matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat or independent or anything else, we should agree on 3 fundamental things. First, tearing apart families, regardless of citizenship status, is wrong. Second, immigrant workers build our homes. They pick our food. They do the work none of us want to do. They don't get to clock out on a Thursday morning to come and stand in front of a board that will refuse to hear them. And third, immigration status should not determine the value of somebody's life. We've already seen what happens when that goes down like that, though. On the 7th of this month, ICE agents chased down Lorenzo Salgado Arujo in Houston while he was driving to work. No criminal record. He was applying for legal residency. He was doing it the right way. They shot him dead. 6 days later in Biddeford, Maine, an ICE officer shot and killed Johan Sebastian Duran Guerrero, a 26-year-old husband and father. Homeland Security itself admitted he wasn't even the person they were looking for. If they did that to a man in Maine, in Texas, all the way back in January in Minnesota, what is stopping them from doing that here? This commission has a credibility problem. This board continues to refuse to cancel its contract with Flock for their drones, and commissioners now exactly know what it took to get us here. Woodward took a trip to the Flock headquarters in Georgia, which, you all know, that's not good. So why don't we just, cancel that contract? Also, the Flock cameras, why do we think that surveillance is good? It doesn't make sense to me. Alongside canceling all Flock contracts, I'm urging you guys to pass a countywide moratorium on hyperscale AI data centers until we understand their true effects. Water use, air pollution, and more. We already know how bad it is. And long-term jobs aren't available with them. I won't be here much longer to hold this board accountable. People behind me are. I'm gonna be going away, but one more thing. Jesus calls on us to love our neighbors, feed the hungry, house the homeless, clothe the naked, and welcome the foreigner into our lands. I learned that in church growing up. And if all your meetings open with a prayer to a God that you claim to serve, you should be willing to act on his accord. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, Sue Maloney. You wanted to speak at this one too, right? And then followed by, I think it's Renali Bowman.
Okay.
Hey, Sue.
I will not be antagonizing you. All right, what I came here to talk about today was, and it's a stealth issue, Oakland County residents are being asked to approve a brand new property tax, 1.5 mils for 6 years. They call it ISD enhancement millage. I remember when it was first proposed in March. I was confused. Was it for a consistent purpose across the county, like say, for example, vocational training in all of the school districts in Oakland County? No, it was not. In fact, voters are being asked to approve this tax before seeing any detailed project-specific spending plan. There is no accountability, no measurable goals. What will success look like? There is no requirements for this tax money to be used for students, teachers, or classrooms. And it is not even required to stay local. By that I mean funds collected in Bloomfield Township will not necessarily stay in Bloomfield Township, but could be apportioned to other places in Oakland County, I don't know, as somebody sees fit. This ill-conceived tax will cost homeowners hundreds of dollars a year for 6 years. It will impact more than just rich homeowners, like you all. It will impact renters, local business, and seniors on a fixed income. Now, in November, as a Royal Oak resident, I will be asked to approve a millage to improve school facilities. In my estimation, millages need to be local, accountable, and for something very, very important. We all support strong public schools, but this is not the way to go about it. I urge you to vote no on August 4th on this brand new tax.
Thank you very much. Bowman? Is it Renelli? Renella.
Hi, my name is Renelle Bowman from Lake Orion, and I want to applaud the commission for allocating funds for legal services. And I'm requesting that $100,000 of that funding be allocated for services for immigrants. And the reason for this is, as we've heard today from previous speakers, many of the people who are being detained illegally, removed from their jobs, and as primary breadwinners for their families, they don't have any money for legal services. And I feel that we, as taxpayers, have a choice to say that we'd like funds to go toward that service. So my request is for $100,000 for legal services for the immigrant community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Christina Greiser, followed by Grace. Christina? Welcome, Christina.
Hello, my name's Christina Greiser, and I live in Lake Orion. I'm representing Strangers No Longer and Christ the Redeemer Church, also in Lake Orion. My parents immigrated to the United States from Germany. My father truly lived the American dream, but he never forgot where he came from or the people who helped him along the way. He lived helping others. He owned several rental properties and rented to immigrants from all over the world: Korea, Iraq, India, South America. Growing up, our home and our kitchen table were filled with people from different cultures, religions, and languages. My father helped them learn English, complete complicated paperwork, and even helped with homework assignments, all while working at GM full-time. My father will always be my role model because he saw people first, no matter what color or make. For the past 30 years, I have served as the founder and president of a German women's organization here in Metro Detroit. I also operated a foreign language school in Troy for 9 years, where I worked with many immigrant children and adults. Immigration has never been foreign to me. What is foreign to me is how, in recent years, our public conversation has shifted from welcoming and respecting immigrants, regardless of legal status, to too often demeaning and dehumanizing them. Many members of my organization are choosing to leave the U.S., not because they have to, but because they no longer feel that this country reflects the values that once welcomed them. They are leaving with heavy hearts and shock. At Christ the Redeemer Church, Grace, who's speaking next, and I facilitate classes on faith and immigration. The very first line of our first session is, "I was a stranger and you welcomed me." That Bible message is remarkably consistent and crystal clear. Today, I ask you to support the resolution to provide funding for legal assistance and food aid for immigrant families in our community. These are members. These are our neighbors, these are our parents, children, workers, and members of our community who need access to legal help and enough food to feed their families. They are also our brothers and sisters. I know that many of you choose public service because you care about this community and want to help. Whether your motivation comes from your faith or from your commitment to serving others, I believe we share a common responsibility to treat every person with dignity. I will leave you with the words of Jesus. Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Grace Zazaki, followed by Liz Loria.
Good afternoon. I'm Grace Zazaki. I live in Clarkston. I'm a member of Christ the Redeemer Catholic Church and Strangers No Longer. I am the proud granddaughter of immigrants from Sicily and Poland. I was very blessed to have a close relationship with my Sicilian grandmother. She was 18 years old when she immigrated here. 2 weeks after her arranged marriage, she set sail, leaving parents, family, friends, and the only life she knew. She was taken to a country where she knew no one, didn't speak the language, and had no idea her new husband was kind or brutal. This had to be terrifying. My grandfather, also leaving everything he knew. He had $35 in his pocket, no job, a language barrier, and knew they may never see family again. Yet they still came. I admire the strength that this took for the promise of a better life, the promise of America. Last year, I decided I wanted to know the truth about immigration. It has become such a divided political battle. Christ the Redeemer was offering a class in faith and immigration, and through this class, I learned how truly ignorant I was. I learned how difficult, if not impossible, it is for immigrants to come here. Afterwards, I joined Christina in facilitating the class. We watched participants' eyes open when they were given the real facts. We saw the tears when they heard the immigrant stories. I realized this is not a political problem, it's a moral problem. It's a problem of America forgetting where they came from. Most in this room have come from immigrants. We would not have our blessed lives if America had not welcomed our ancestors. A few months ago, I attended a meeting here. There was a discussion about wanting to make Oakland County known for welcoming our immigrants. This is an honorable goal, but a goal is not enough. There needs to be action. The Bible makes our role as Christians very clear. You shall love the alien as yourself. Can we honestly say that is what we are doing? Months ago, a proposal was made to give $100,000 for legal aid and food to help our immigrants, yet a vote has never been taken. What happened to being known as a welcoming community? Has Oakland County forgotten where we've come from? Do we not have an obligation as Christians and human beings to care for each other? I'm not here to pick a political bone, but to open hearts. Last year, 500 immigrants were taken from Oakland County. No one should live in fear. No child should feel the terror of coming home from school to find their parents gone. These traumas last forever. Aren't we better than this? The book of James states, "What good is it to say you have faith but do not have works?" I ask you to have works. Please, let's not just talk about being a great nation. Let's be one. I respectfully ask you to support the resolution and release the funds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Liz Loria, followed by Lisa Hess.
Good afternoon. I'm a little happy about the smoky part because if that condition didn't close the school where I was due to be at, I couldn't still be here. So, my name is Liz Loria. I live in Auburn Hills. I've lived in Michigan my whole life and in Oakland County for more than 50 years. I am a member for a long time of Strangers No Longer, as you know and have heard. It works for immigrant justice with Catholic churches. I am a member of the Servants Entrance community. And so I am here to ask you to pass these resolutions to fund legal aid and food in Oakland County. It's been 6 months, as you know, no action has been taken to use the $100,000. Our community, our neighbors are suffering. They need legal aid, they need representation, and to pay for their lawyers' fees. Please consider dedicating the funds for legal navigation and bond fee assistance for our immigrant neighbors in Oakland County. Food and aid targeted to families whose breadwinners are in immigration proceedings or are detained. As you have heard, we believe our faith calls us to moral action of mercy. Your role as commissioners representing us gives you the power to make that mercy concrete. By passing these resolutions and ensuring that $100,000 is actually used to keep families fed and legally protected. And I would invite you to pass this aid and feel free to come to one of Stranger No Longer's meetings that are open to all to get more informed, as you have heard, on the struggles that these people are facing daily. And also, I work with a nonprofit in Pontiac, Christian Community Response Team, and we serve and do work for people in the community, take them as clients with our social workers, and have noticed a drop in their attendance and reaching for the aid that we know that they need. This shows the fear that we do not want to promote in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liz. Lisa Hess, followed by Kathy Secchio. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, my name is Lisa Hess. I'm from Beverly Hills, Michigan, lived in Oakland County my entire life. And I'm also a member of Strangers No Longer through St. Regis Catholic Church. And I'm here also to request that you release the $100,000 fund to support these immigrants that, as you have heard, need our help. And I don't need to repeat what everyone else has said, but please consider doing this. It is our moral duty. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kathy? Kathy, S-A-C-A-E-T? S-U-C? Sukat. Kathy Sukat. And followed by Alexis Cromie.
I'm Kathy Sukat from Lake Orion, and this is my first time in attendance at a commissioners meeting. And I'm here because I was told that $100,000 was being considered for release to help with legal aid for illegally detained people, illegally detained human beings. And we spent a great deal of time at the beginning to discuss at this meeting our 250th anniversary and all the different ways that we're going to celebrate it. So it makes me very sick to my stomach, and I find it very difficult to hear about ice cream socials and butter churning when we have people as we are meeting here, as we are sitting here, as we are talking, suffering. Human beings are suffering. Their families are suffering. They are allowed, they are due process. This is the bedrock, this is the foundation of our country, our legal system. And it's nice to celebrate and prop up how wonderful a people we are and what a wonderful country this is, but we're not. We're not if we cannot afford all the laws that are inscribed here in Michigan and other states, all the other states. So please, I am imploring you, I am begging you to release the $100,000 to give these people a chance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alexis Cromie, followed by Cullen Black, and then Cecil George.
Hello, my name is Alexis. I'm from Pontiac. And since the last meeting, I hope you all had a wonderful Father's Day, spending time with your families, either as a father or with your father. And for those of you who've lost their father like me, I hope you at least had a peaceful day. However, that day was not peaceful for Pontiac. There were 5 people kidnapped before 10 a.m. by ICE. Mi gente, my people, or anyone with a darker skin complexion, were scared to go outside. There were hundreds of families that also spent this day fatherless because their father was sitting at North Lake, being forced to eat spaghetti that smells like feces and can only be eaten whole after washing off the smell. But don't take it from me. Ask Senator Slotkin. She met with, or her team met with Cat Faye and told us that she went. Or even better, I think all of you should at least once take a trip to your local concentration camp. But women, beware, you can't wear a wired bra or they'll make you take it off at the door and throw it out. And then they won't let you in because you're not wearing a bra. Oh, and wear jeans. They won't let you in unless you wear jeans. I am so tired. I don't know how many more days I can keep waking up in a world with concentration camps, parasites in my food, and unbreathable air. What's crazy is that I had it good this morning. I didn't wake up in a concentration camp. Happy 250th America. Yeah, we're doing so good. Yay. You tossed around hundreds of millions of dollars this morning in a presentation. I don't see why you can't see $100,000 going to people in need, in desperate need, scared to go outside, scared for their families. I was born here and so were my friends. I'm scared for my friend to go to work because he's dark brown. This isn't right.
Thank you, Alexis. Cullen Black, followed by Cecil George.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cullen Black. 8 months out of the year, I live in Rochester, right around the corner of Walton and Squirrel. I'm a student at Oakland University, hoping to stay in the Detroit metro area. This is not where I'm from, but I have made it my home because of the wonderful community here that is on display here today, as usual. And I was beaten to the punch on the issue of data centers, but I do have a new angle that I can speak to that the other 2 commenters who spoke to the issue have not talked about yet. Oakland University at this moment is planning to construct a 26 megawatt data center on the south end of our campus, right next to our Native American heritage site on one side and 2 trailheads on the other. This thing is going to get its power from a nearby DTE substation. DTE has given us their ever-reliable promise that they will not bring local rates up, but as many of you may know, I can hear the laughter behind me, I don't know how much that's truly worth. This is not an original idea on the part of OU administration. Fairmount Properties, a developer who does work on public-private partnerships, mostly in Northeastern Ohio, came to administration with an idea on how to use this substation and get profit for themselves and for whoever wants to lease it. Because that's the thing, of these 26 megawatts, one is going to be used for actual university business. They plan on renting the rest to some private company. In service of an industry, mind you, that is in a bubble. Everyone who's in the know can see that. And I feel enraged by this. I'm at Oakland studying history. I appreciate all of the commemoration and honoring of our heritage and our history that I've seen from the commission today. And it's disappointing to me that my own university would consider putting this much money and effort into something that is working toward my obsolescence as a future teacher of history. Pontiac and Rochester Hills have both been optioning data center moratoriums. Pontiac just recently extended theirs by 6 months. This is a known thing that big tech will do, going to universities to skirt local regulations. I would urge you collectively as a commission to think about ways that you could potentially halt this process that is currently being steamrolled through our university community with no oversight. I want to keep my campus beautiful. I want to keep my county beautiful, and we need your help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colin. Cecil George.
Good afternoon, commissioners and Dave Woodward. Isn't it ironic that a 26-year-old young man who once had a dream of making life better for the people of Oakland County has become the focus of so much frustration? You have loyal commissioners. I know this. I know that you oversee every committee. I know that they are afraid of being kicked off of the committee if they go against you. I also know that you are in every big decision, but that does not make you a good leader. A good leader listens. A good leader trusts the people working under them to do their jobs. Most importantly, a good leader remembers who they work for. As a public servant, we work for the people. That doesn't make us better than the public. It means the public is our employer. The people in this room aren't here because everything is going well. They're here because they're concerned about flock cameras, property assessments, concerns about public safety, county priorities, and the direction this county is heading. I grew up in Detroit, where when we would play basketball in our neighborhood as teenagers, cops would sit down the street and just watch us until we walked to the gas station, and then they would throw us up against the wall. So I know what surveillance feels like. Technology can absolutely be a useful tool when it's used appropriately. It's not being used appropriately. Also, there's been an 18-year-old kid, or a couple 18-year-old kids. Actually, I've talked to several 18-year-olds who just finished high school, but one particular reached out to my campaign asking about, will I address the corruption that's going on in Oakland County? I responded to this kid 3 times, and he still has that same concern. We need leaders who put the public first. I believe you once had that heart, I really do. When I first started speaking at these meetings, I spoke with a lot of anger because I was frustrated. Running for office has taught me something. There are already enough angry people. Leadership isn't about matching people's energy. Leadership is about listening to it, understanding it, and having the courage to turn it into a solution. In 2019, you actually decided to step down from the commission to be appointed for the executive position. Today, I still think you should step down from that position as chair. This is not a Democrat or Republican. This is about ethics, this is about accountability, and remembering that every decision made in this building should begin and end with one simple question. Is this what is best for the people? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Up next, Alondra Solorzano.
Tracy Giebord. I live in West Bloomfield. I'm going to go back to ICE. You've made an initiative to keep the people who work in Oakland County safe from ICE on county property in private areas. Now, logically, if that was truly important to you, as you voted it was, why am I not important? Why aren't these people important? Why can't we all be protected in Oakland County on county properties from ICE? We all agree it's bad. All the Democrats agree it's bad, right? ICE is bad. They need to be abolished. So I don't know why you don't use your Democratic majority to make the rest of us safe here in Oakland County. You are going to be recalled, Dave Woodward, because you like to take public comment, shove it at the end, so you can vote and control your board here to get what you want, right? And you're going to be gone as a result of it. You know it. You're scared. Heather Catalo's here. Channel 7 is here. They're investigating the daylights out of you. And Sean Carlson, who's running for my, against Cecil George here. We all know he's dirty. The Republicans know he's dirty because they got a whole website, crookedcarlson.com. They did my homework for me, right? We're not afraid to call out our own. We're not afraid to send somebody green to replace Crooked Carlson, all right? That's what he is. He's a crook, you're a crook, and the rest of you who want to vote for this kind of crookedness, you're all going to go too. I don't know why we don't have a 287G refusal. Put something in writing to say that our sheriff's department is not going to participate in this. Frankly, I don't think we can trust them all. And I say that as a cop. I worked with cops. I know what cops do. They take Royal Oak police cars and drive to bad acts with lights and siren, right? They violate people's rights. So I would like to see you folks do something and act like real Democrats. Protect your constituents, for heaven's sakes. I'm going to agree with Bob's letter for Oakland schools. I want my district putting their ballot proposals so I can vote on what money is going to come to my school. We all know, you say in a closed-door meeting, that the superintendent of Oakland schools says this isn't going to support teachers. This money doesn't have enough time length to support teachers. And that's really what people are misled into thinking, that this is going to go to teachers, and it's not. So I agree with you, Bob. I even agree with the crazy MAGA lady back here. Hate to do that, all right? But I'm not afraid to throw people like you out of office.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Tracy.
for leaving.
And I apologize. I think she cut in front of Ms. Solorzano. Solorzano. Welcome. Followed by Marguerite Gupta and then Danielle Mahan.
Hello, everyone. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. My name is Alejandra Solorzano. I am a resident in Madison Heights. I am representing Strangers No Longer, a nonprofit organization that works with alongside Catholic churches. I'm also a member of St. Damien, Molokai, and Pontiac. I'm a proud daughter of immigrants, Mexican immigrants. I'm from California. I got my degree at UC Berkeley. I'm a recent graduate of Oakland University with a master's in public administration, and I say that because my mom and my dad, I'm trying not to get emotional, instilled in me education, instilled in me to help my neighbor, to believe in this country that opened their arms to us. And so when I see, I'm a caseworker at Strangers No Longer, and when I see people in Pontiac, people in different areas of this county suffering every day because they're being hunted down outside of their driveways with ICE, hunting them down, trying to see what mistake they do. They turn the wrong light. You know what? I can't get a driver's license because, I'm not a U.S. citizen. Any mistake like that we can all make as U.S. citizens, we get detained and are there unlawfully with no legal representation in North Lake for months. I have a Colombian, Venezuelan lady that I've been helping. Her husband's been there for 8 months in North Lake. She has leukemia, is afraid to walk outside because ICE is around, neighboring, hunting her and her fellow neighbors. And we have to have nonprofits drop off food to her, and we need to get SWORK, a great organization that helps with pro bono legal aid. They're running out of staff. They're running out of money to be able to help people get legally represented in the system. And so people are suffering, and I'm just very upset about that. I want you to know that it's happening right outside your door. It's happening to your neighbors. And as a Catholic, as someone in faith, I have the moral obligation to say something, to do something. And I know there's Christians here, I know there's Catholics here, in any religion. You have to support and love your neighbor. This is all part of our foundation. And so I invite you to open your eyes, open your heart, listen to the people here, and come to a community meeting, come to the Strangers No Longer meeting to be aware of what's going on, and just make this better for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marguerite? And Danielle, you're next.
Hi, my name is Margaret Gupta. I'm with Oakland County in Oakland Township. I really don't know where to start. I've got a ton of things to talk about. First of all, I'm running for State Senate, District 23. It was because nobody's listening here. You guys don't listen, and it's sad. The first point I want to go out, County Clerk Lisa Brown said if a non-citizen voted or someone voted twice, that's a crime. Well, she also has oversight of the county records. What does that have to do with me? I have just 5 Zoom hearings that have been corrupted, altered, and statements removed by Judge Lisa Langton. She's the spouse of Fox 2 News, Charlie Langton. That's a crime when you alter records. I said, hey, can we sit down and correct those court records for accuracy? There's been no word from either Fred Miller or Lisa Brown about crimes. Transparency, clarity allows for accountability, and that's huge. It's huge in government, it's huge in doing audits, it's huge when saying, hey, this is where your money's gonna go. And the question I pose to you guys is, if you have this big, solid, structured, sound budget coming in for 2027 and 2029, our executive talked about it. CFO talked about it. Hey, that's a great idea. Well, why are we talking about that? You guys started early in March because there are major problems. This is actually a facade. It's saying, hey, you know what? We're gonna do all these great things for the public, but listen, this is what they said in the audit, and I wrote these down. Deficiencies in internal control management, repeated actions, errors, problems, community development block grants. They're in jeopardy. Why? Because, listen, where is it? I'm running out of time now. I've got all this stuff. The CDGB grants, which are the community block grants, they're in problem because you guys aren't following the reporting requirements. County is not fully prepared, resulting in material aid. CFA, which is a schedule for expenditures of federal awards, required more than 10 revisions. Federal expenditures went up by 40 million. 10 revisions within a certain amount of time. Management has not implemented consistent deadlines, monitoring practices, cross-departmental processes to ensure all elements of annual close, including CFA prep, are completed, reviewed, and reconciled. Counties are supposed to develop and adhere with appropriate oversight to written year-end close with defined taxes, deadlines assigned, and response and oversight mechanisms. For unreconciled liabilities, county was unable to provide a reconciliation of all of its refundable department liability. Its absence of a standard procedure for reconciling accounts on a timely basis, which exposes the county to increased risk of misstatements, whether through fraud or error, may be occurred or not be prevented, deleted, detected, or corrected. There's a lot of problems here. You guys, it's internal. And if that's happening with federal funds, what's happening with our budget?
Thank you very much. Danielle? Followed by Sally Walker.
Good afternoon. My name is Danielle Mallon. I'm a resident of Birmingham. Been coming here for 6 months, showing up, sending emails, making calls. I'm so grateful for my wonderful, supportive Commissioner Charlie Cavell. Glad to be on the same page as him. I'm so inspired. Try not to tear up, but I'm so inspired by everyone in this room who shows up, we're trying to do the right thing. The women talking about their Catholic organization are so inspiring to me. That is the faith that I was brought up in. That is why I'm a Democrat. I don't practice my Catholic faith anymore, but I know family members who still do, I imagine, and who are in this room. And I don't think they're following the teachings of Jesus. That Brendan's invocation was so beautiful this morning and also brought me to tears. So we're still asking for action from the board. We're asking you to approve $50,000 for legal aid to support our immigrant families in the community and $100,000 to address food insecurity for impacted families. I don't know what else to say. I didn't want to come here today. I was worried about the smoke and everything is so heavy, but I'm going to keep showing up and I'm going to keep fighting, and I think we all are. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Sally Walker, and then Karen Jan Feldman.
Hi, Sally Walker, Bloomfield Township. Woke up this morning. Yesterday we had oppressive heat. We have smoke-filled air today. We got drones in the sky. We have the crumbling of reproductive rights. We have data centers polluting our environment, the erosion of access to voting, and continued government abductions right here in our community. We're living in a burgeoning dystopia. Some of these things are out of our control, obviously, but there are some we can act on. We can get FLOC out of Oakland County. We can continue opposition to the SAVE Act. We can create a moratorium on data centers in Oakland County and save our environment. That's got to be important to everybody here. It's more important than money or anything I can think of. We can ensure that Oakland County residents are safe from ICE abductions. Approve a budget for those who are affected so they can access legal aid and emergency food aid. These are people. These are our neighbors. And we need to help them and support them. I'm just wondering if the ad hoc committee is still a thing. If it is, the time to act is now. We keep coming for 6 months. Every month we come and we talk about this. It's important to us. And I can see, people who don't believe in the abductions and don't believe this is really happening. It is happening. Maybe you just don't like immigrants. I don't know, but these are human beings and we have to protect them. And the time is now. The time is 6 months ago. The time is last year, and we can't wait anymore. So I am asking you to take action now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Karen Jan Feldman. Is Karen here? Karen's not here. We'll move on to Justine Gabrath, followed by Mary Miller. And then Sadie, I think it's Homan. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Justine Galbraith. I live in Troy. I am Oakland County. Back in April, Commissioner Nelson said during one of the meeting about FLOC that policy should lead technology, not chase it. It appears to me that county policy is still chasing surveillance technology, and this puts resident privacy and data at risk. First, I do want to acknowledge Commissioners Erickson, Galt, and Johnson who have put forth a drone policy. Hundreds of us have expressed concerns about FLOC drones for months, and this is the first evidence that anyone cares. So thank you for starting to address this issue. I understand that the policy is being sent back to committee. So in that light, I'd like to make a few suggestions. Back in April, the ACLU of Michigan wrote to the board and urged you to vote no on FLOC drones unless several policies were in place. Those policies were that images should be retained only when there is reasonable suspicion that they contain evidence of a crime or are relevant to an ongoing investigation or trial. Drones should be deployed by law enforcement only with a warrant, in an emergency, or when there are specific and articulable grounds to believe that the drone will collect evidence relating to a specific criminal act. Any policy you enact should require this, as well as limitations on database use. The ACLU recommends that any Oakland database should be limited to the county's use only. If this is not ensured, it makes a significant amount of resident data available for access or misuse. Drones are not the only issue. As far as I could find, neither the county nor the sheriff's office has a policy for license plate readers. Again, the ACLU offers strict recommendations. Any license plate data not connected to a crime should be deleted after 3 minutes, and ALPR photos or data collected by cameras should be compared only to hot lists created by the sheriff's office or other county police departments. I have emailed you all the documents in which the ACLU's recommendations have been made, and I hope they will be adopted into a policy. Or better yet, that the county will consider eliminating this technology completely. As the ACLU says, we will continue to believe that using flock cameras or cameras from its competitors should be opposed outright. I'll end with the ACLU's words about why, if the county insists on surveillance technology, which hundreds of us have expressed is not worth the risk they pose, Flock should not be a company you contract with, regardless of the perks they may offer to our chairman. Flock says its corporate objective is to build a national camera network of ALPRs by placing them in every city in the United States. While license plate readers have been around for some time, Flock and its venture capital investors are pursuing massive profits by increasing the government's ability to identify and track vehicles and drivers in local communities to dystopian levels. As Flock itself boasts, its nationwide ALPR network produces more than 20 billion vehicle tracking plate scans every month in more than 5,000 American communities. Ours should not be one of those communities. At a minimum, please create policy that places the privacy and civil liberties of residents before any other concern, or even better, jettison Flock altogether. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mary Miller and then Sadie Homer. Mary? Is Mary here? Mary Miller? Okay. Sadie?
It's Sadie Heeman, by the way. I'm a student at Oakland University. I'm here because our Board of Trustees recently voted to push forward the first phase of a 15-acre data center project on main campus. Because we, student faculty community, have had no luck with our board, who are appointed, not elected officials. I'm turning to you. It's been 6 months of waiting since ICE out of OCs asked for food and legal aid, and it's been about 4 months since we at Oakland were promised a town hall by OU admin, but we never got. I urge Oakland County to create a model ordinance for municipalities in Oakland County to use to fight data center development, as it is massively unpopular among your constituents. There's resistance in Rochester and in Pontiac, whose city council recently passed a data center moratorium, and in Leon, who are fighting the development of a 172-acre hyperscale AI data center right now, and across the rest of the county. This surge of development projects that are not benefiting nor intended to benefit the localities they move into end up being public health and resource nightmares. I also feel inclined to mention the moral obligation we as in every locality, have to future generations in using as little energy as possible, and especially burning as few fossil fuels as possible. I urge you to create a model ordinance to prevent data center development and prevent corporations from taking advantage of and attempting to profit off of our communities. I urge you to cancel your Flock contract and to provide the funding for food and legal aid we've been asking for a half of a year. For all of you, we have a contact sheet over there if you'd like to stay in the know about OU's fight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, lady. Marianne Romeo, and then Eduardo Crane is next.
My name is Marianne Romeo. I'm a resident of Orion Township and a lifelong resident of Oakland County. I'm a member of Christ the Redeemer Church and Strangers No Longer. Since January 2025, more than 500 Oakland County immigrants have been detained by ICE Most families have little or no trustworthy legal help. I'm respectfully asking you to take up the proposal for a $100,000 legal aid resolution and approve it to fund legal aid clinics serving Pontiac and surrounding Oakland County communities. This $100,000 allocation would allow legal aid clinics working in the area to double their caseloads for the next 6 months. That means more than 2,000 people in Oakland County would gain access to urgently needed legal support. Every person in the United States is entitled to due process. The 5th and 14th Amendments apply their protections to all persons. This is who we are. It's the right thing to do. Please release the $100,000. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Edgarda Crane?
My name is Eduarda Crane, and I am a resident of Lake Orion. And if you'll bear with me. Animo a todos los comisionarios a hacer lo correcto por el condado de Oakland. Somos votantes. Preocupados y seguiremos recordando los nuestros conciudadanos las acciones positivas en las que actúan ustedes, así como las que siguen ignorando, como la inseguridad de la alimentaria y la asistencia legal para las quien están detenidos. Soy el condado de Oakland. Atentamente, Eduarda Crane, el pueblo de Lake Orion. I am 76 years old and I'm tired. I have been doing this for 64 years. I know the pendulum swings back and forth. I'm encouraging all commissioners to do the right thing for Oakland County. We are concerned voters. We will continue to remind our fellow citizens of the positive actions that you act on, as well as the ones you continue to ignore, like food insecurities and legal assistance for those being detained. I am Oakland County. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Jill, is it Spadafora? Jill Spadafora? Is Jill here? No, Jill? Is there anybody else that'd like to speak during public comments? Yeah. Understand.
Again, I'm Brett Riddle. I didn't identify my city. Sorry. I come from a faraway place called Pontiac. And I know we're sitting in the middle of it right now. And I have a report sitting up here, city center, the heart of Oakland County. It's bleeding. It's dying. It is corrupt. Its heart is black. I thought I could do this without getting emotional, but America's 250, right? Oakland History Center. Give me a break. Just give me a break. 10 years ago, I brought Melvin F. Hardman. He was a great operatic tenor to do Frederick Douglass, to embody him every year. Elaine Kiner did Harriet Beecher Stowe. I spent every year bringing, these were octogenarians that I brought in wheelchairs to afford them a possibility to perform and to be seen. Oakland History Center is, Mike McGinnis and his 13 felonies, he used it as a way to become Mayor of Pontiac. You've just got to look at the truth of all this. America 250, in that presentation you mentioned morality. Morality has no place in a governmental document. Morality is religion. Ethics is what we're based on. Oakland Connect, something good. There's something great that happened. Oakland Connect took a baby step forward, a baby step, but it was a step. Homelessness is 24/7, 365. We were able to be open for 24 hours a day from December 1st. We missed the first 2 cold emergencies of the year, and it should stay open until April 15th. We're going to move that forward, right? They talk about moving forward. This fine lady worked with me in the shelter, and I'm so just thrilled to be here with you today. Safe Tonight Shelter was a success. Homelessness is real. It's a hashtag. This is happening. There are people living in backyards, in campers, who didn't get housed. There's a wonderful thing called the Recovery Collective. The Recovery Collective has bought a building in downtown Pontiac. It is going to sit across the street from where Elbert Patterson's great plan is coming to fruition, the Lot 9 that's owned by his daughter. Other hashtags, a river ran through it. That's Pontiac. Pontiac will never recover until you right the water. We knew this 30 years ago when I moved to New York. We talked about a river running through our town. And I have 8 seconds, I can do one more. Daylight the damn Clinton. John Carlson walked with me on a tour of town and made no plan to daylight the Clinton. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. If there are individuals that would like to speak, if you can there's some seats in the front here so that we can expedite.
Hi, I'm Sharon Trumpy, Pleasant Ridge. First of all, I want to say to everyone here, and especially the lovely ladies from Strangers No Longer, how touching today's public comment was and how proud I am of all of you, because it is scary to come up here and speak to elected officials. I think some of you might think that we're here because we're troublemakers. Someone asked me after the last meeting if I write my comments at the meeting, and I do. Every single comment I make to you, I write at that meeting, because we're here because we're hoping and listening and waiting for there to be something that I can come up here and be like, thanks for listening and doing what we're asking. Not today. I want to return to the consent agenda. I appreciate the response, and I understand that consent items are vetted in the committee and that those meetings are open to the public. I don't really want to go to any more meetings. I would like to note that Commissioners Cavell and Nelson are prevented from participating as a commissioner fully in these commission meetings or committee meetings. So my question is, why would any commissioner want to make it harder for another to pull an item off the consent agenda? I fear that the reason would be to prevent a specific vote from happening, to keep an item bundled precisely so that objecting to it is harder. I raise this because it isn't happening in a vacuum. This board has a track record of making it harder for the public and for specific commissioners to be heard, the April 8th meeting being just one example. And this is not just a hypothetical concern. Today, Democratic commissioners voted against pulling the sheriff's helicopter item off the consent agenda for a separate vote. That same group of commissioners, under the same process, could just as easily refuse to pull other items in the future. For example, if a $2.5 million contract with Flock comes up for approval on a future consent agenda. If the same commissioners who voted today to keep the helicopter item bundled apply that same reasoning going forward, the public could see a multi-million-dollar surveillance contract approved without ever getting an individual standalone vote. Not because commissioners couldn't object, but because they weren't permitted to force the item to a separate vote. I don't think that procedural questions like this are minor. Small structural choices about who gets to force a vote are exactly the kind of thing that determines whether disagreement is actually possible in this body or just performed, and whether transparency is just a show or if it's one of your values.
Thank you very much, Sharon.
Hello, my name is Kathleen Sofaro. I live in Royal Oak. I am a member of Christ Our Light Catholic Church and an avid member of Strangers No Longer. You need to know a little bit more about Strangers No Longer. We're not just Catholic. We started out that way. But since then, we have become Lutheran and Presbyterian and you name it. We even have a Jewish group and we're Christian. We have many circles of support because of this issue of ICE and 287G. I have to tell you, I'm really proud to be a member of Strangers No Longer, and as you've heard from some of the members today, that's why. But I have to tell you, I am really surprised shocked maybe, and I've been around. I'm really shocked it's taken 6 months of debate, of concern, of not being sure, of whether we should provide some legal support, some food and assistance to those people who've come here, those people who mow our lawns, those people who add roofs to our, our new roof to our house, who do our gardening, who work in restaurants. These are humans. I am really shocked to think that we have to debate this long. I really recommend that you folks get with it. It's the human response to people who are not being treated as humans. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Miriam. I live in Troy, but it doesn't really matter because I know your constituents live in Atlanta at Flock headquarters and somewhere called Altoona, Pennsylvania, the Sheetz headquarters. Probably rings a bell. Maybe if I said my name was Michael Bouchard, then you guys would listen, right? I think that's your only constituent, today at least. So that's what I want to talk about today. Michael Bouchard asks for a helicopter or another training facility or whatever it is, and you bend over backwards. You actually lied to the federal government and say you're doing a northern border patrol thing to try to get the money because you hope they're not going to look too closely because that's how desperate you are to help him. And I can't even, regardless of what I think about the money for the sheriff's department, the more confusing part to me is the logic, because I have no problem with the logic of the sheriff comes to you and says, I need X because it'll improve the service, it'll make the community safer, and you say, okay, I guess we have to help, let's give the money. That logic is not the thing that I have the problem with. The problem is when you have another subject matter expert, like Samaritas, come to your ad hoc committee meeting and say, we're struggling, we're trying to give people legal and food aid, and we're swamped, we could really use your help. Instead of giving them that same respect that you give to the sheriff when he says, I'm an expert on safety, you ignore them. And you're doing the same with the community when we're saying and I think we're allowed to be subject matter experts on our own frickin' safety, if that's okay. We're saying, hey, we feel unsafe by what you're doing. And also, it's not just ragtag group of people. There's like so many city councils within Oakland County that have said no to Flock. So you're like the governing bodies within the county have said again and again and again, we don't want this, it does not make us feel safe. And you're not like giving them not even like the teeniest bit of respect that you're giving to Michael Bouchard when he asks for something. So just trust everyone. I would have almost no problem or less of a problem with the sheriff stuff if it was like equal. If it was like, oh yes, and we also trust you to be the authority on this. We will give you money because you need it for safety. We will not do Flock because we trust that you know what's best for your safety. You don't need I don't understand. And also, the smoke today I feel like I'm worried this is what the world's gonna be like even more and more as the world continues on, and it's because of people like you, Dave Woodward, who are lobbyists for fossil fuel companies directly profiting off of the selling of fossil fuels in 2026. And you call yourself a Democrat? Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think I may be the last, and you're going to love me today. Maybe not next month. My name's Danielle Blanchard, and I'm from Waterford, and I've now been here. This is my 4th meeting, and you might remember that last month I said this is my new hobby, and I will be here every time unless I'm deathly ill. For freaking ever. I am retired now. I have time on my hands. I do go to Florida and visit my sister. Deal with it. I am not going to speak today because you are toasted and you won't hear a thing I say anyway. And I'm proud of everybody for making these meetings this long. I'm so proud of you guys. Look at who you're looking at. I'm speaking, aren't I? Well, look at who you're looking at, though. They are every age, every party affiliation. There were Republicans here today agreeing with me. What the hell? I'm not really a Democrat, by the way. I have voted all three parties. I vote for issues and the people I trust, and I think we shouldn't even have a primary that's straight ticket. But anyway, I will be speaking with some very, very good points, bulleted. You will appreciate them because I will not go on and on like I am now because this is unrehearsed. I will have a bulleted list of all the stuff that you're still not dealing with, and I'll try to word it different so that it hits different, because I only get up and speak if I can add a perspective that hasn't been already said. And this is kind of a little off the cuff, but I will see you guys next month, and I will talk about the three main issues here that you're still not dealing with, and why they're really, really important, and why you should not be afraid of Dave Woodward and finally freaking stand up. And if you agree with them, shame on you. Because this is not what Oakland County was about the whole time I was growing up until the last several years. All right, see you next month.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think that's it. No, I'm going to get to you.
I just
First,
wanted to say that if anyone filled out one of these voter pledge cards, thank you, and if you could just return it to me. It's not, oh, who are you voting for or anything like that. We're just trying to gauge if counties are voting in the primaries, and that's the point of it. And then if you're also interested in getting involved in MLCV, in community organizing work to protect the environment and the voting rights of marginalized groups, and especially Black and brown communities, you could write your name down in this book, but yeah. Oh, so sorry.
Good. Thank you. The very last person, our clerk, Lisa Brown.
Thank you. So I want to remind people that we do have a primary coming up, that early voting begins July 25th. We are doing something new this time, as we had a great turnout to early voting in November of 24, and encouraging people to do this. We are going to have, I'm going to call it an express lane, at our early voting sites. This is the early voting sites the county runs. So there's a handful of communities that did not partner with us in the county. This does not apply to their early voting sites, but to ours, we're going to have an express lane, a separate line for those who are coming into the early voting site with their completed absentee ballot. So you don't have to wait in the line waiting for the ballot on demand to be printed. So it'll be a faster line for you. So I really want to encourage, I think that is the best way to vote. If you're an absentee voter, take the time, fill it out at home, but bring it into early voting, especially because in our primaries, in our August primaries, we see more spoiled ballots than any other election. You have to stay in one lane in the partisan section of the ballot. You have to be consistent on the back side. Only one, you have, whatever party you voted on the front, you have to stay with that on the back. Don't forget the nonpartisan section, but if you cross over, you will spoil the entire partisan section of the ballot. That means none of those votes will count, okay? If you bring it in and either to your precinct on election day or to your early voting site and put it in the tabulator yourself, yes, I have to do these hand motions while I do it. I don't know why I talk, but anyways, it'll spit it back out at you. The tabulator will eject your ballot and tell you on the screen where you overvoted. You then have the opportunity, it's second chance voting, right? You've taken the time to fill out your ballot. You have people you want to vote for or proposals you want to vote for. You want to make sure those count. So you would then have the opportunity to go have that ballot spoiled and get another one and vote it right then and there. I also just want to remind people, so this is more county employees and candidates. I've tried to remind, we have things for the public to come to when we have different celebrations, and sometimes candidates come, and I tried to educate one a couple years ago and instead was yelled at and called names, trying to explain to people. In the county merit rules, someone is, an employee is subject to discipline if they've engaged in political activities while working. So candidates, please don't talk to employees if we're having some kind of celebration here. Don't be passing out, you shouldn't be campaigning on government property anyways. but you can get employees in trouble for that. So I ask you to remember that, and then commissioners, you should all have gotten your reminders about your campaign finance reports. And, oh, you didn't time me, that was so nice. Okay, I think that was everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Brown. That will conclude public comment. We stand adjourned till August 13th, 2026. I'll call the chair.